overheads, guys. So far we are done with direct materials, direct employee cost and direct expenses. How will you identify direct material cost with the end product that is manufactured? How do we identify direct material cost with the end product that is manufactured, guys? You should know how to value material first, which will tell us what should be included, what should not be included in the valuation of raw materials, so that we can effectively arrive at our cost per unit. Once we know how to value material, you will follow either FIFO method or weighted average method for pricing of material issues. Then there will be material requisition note maintained that will tell us for which product was a specific raw material used. Will you be able to identify raw material cost with the end product? Yes or no? How will you identify direct employee cost with the end product? Again, you should know what is the effective wage rate per hour, guys, and then there will be timekeeping. याद है अभी पढ़ रहे थे? That will tell us what is the effective time that is spent by an employee on different jobs. Will you be able to identify expenditure? Direct expenses are direct expenses. All of this put together beta become your. What we are now doing, guys, are indirect expenses. Any expenditure that cannot be directly related to the end product is termed as an indirect expenditure. Under manufacturing expenses, you will have direct and indirect. All indirect expenses collectively become your manufacturing or production overheads. Under office and admin, you will only have indirect expenses. Under selling and distribution, you will only have indirect expenses. This chapter is supposed to cover all types of indirect expenses. Though every question as such beta is only based on manufacturing overheads and not based on selling and distribution or office and admin. The intention is clear that these other overheads are not going to affect your inventory valuation. Anything that doesn't affect inventory valuation is not going to impact your profitability. How you allocate does not matter, it will still go to P&L account only. But manufacturing overheads, guys, will get included in the value of a material. If it is included in the value of a product, it can affect our profitability. That is why major concentration will only be on manufacturing overheads. Is that clear? You want to wash your face and come beta Ayush? तू नहीं बेटा आयुष, सामने वाला. हाँ. Are we all clear, guys? Now, can you list few examples of manufacturing overheads? It should be easier going by the fact that we just did direct expenses. Anything that is not direct or anything better that was given as an example by Moksh is an indirect expenditure. Moksh, can you now give me examples of indirect manufacturing overheads? Guys, वो ऐसा रहता ना थोड़े बंदे, if they buy a stock, you should sell it, because you know that the fact that they bought it, it is going to go down now. And if they sell something, you should immediately buy it, because they sold it, it has to go up. ऐसा ये है बेटा. एग्जाम में इसको कभी भी डाउट आ रहा है तुम्हारे को, इसको पूछो, ये जो भी बोला ना उसका उल्टा लिखो. इतना भाषण हुआ अभी. So when you talk about production overheads or manufacturing overheads or factory overheads, all of them mean the same. Before you assign some other meaning, holiday alag, leave alag बोल के, or factory or works overhead. These are manufacturing expenses that cannot be related to the end product directly. Any expenditure that you have in relation to machinery, like depreciation. मैं बात कर रहा हूं अभी, सुनो बस. हाँ. Like depreciation, guys, because why is machinery specific expenditure not considered as a part of direct expenditure is You do not end up using the machinery only for one product that is manufactured, guys, and that is why it is considered as indirect. And plus, even if that is the case, you do not know what is the accurate expenditure that relates to a specific output. You are all apportioning it on a reasonable basis. That is why it is considered as an indirect expenditure. Depreciation, guys, of machinery, lease rental, not hire charges. I said by default, if they use the word hire charges, you have to assume that it is direct expenses. If they use the word lease rental, it will be in relation to multiple machineries. Matlab machinery for a longer period. Then guys, repairs and maintenance of a machinery. सुन लो गधो. Insurance of machinery. Spare parts, tools that are required, guys, for machineries. Tools, consumables. All of this, guys, will be as a part of your factory overheads. इसके अलावा, can you name few other examples, guys, of production overheads? Salary of all indirect workers. Most common example that they give better would be salary of supervisors. Why salary of supervisor considered as an indirect manufacturing expenditure and not as a direct manufacturing expenditure? I'm thinking about something else. How people change their places according to the person sitting in front of them. कि मैं नहीं दिखना बोल के. अरे मेरे लिए नहीं पढ़ रहे रे भाई. It's so annoying. बताओ ना यार क्लास को. So salary of supervisors as such, guys, would be Pratham. Salary of supervisors as such will be considered as an indirect employee cost. They are not involved in manufacturing activity. They are only supervising. If they are not involved, guys, you will have to allocate their wages to all the products that are being manufactured on a reasonable basis. Are we clear? Factory rent. Factory, agar if you own the premises, can there be factory depreciation? Can there be factory insurance? Can there be factory maintenance? Anything related to factory as such, guys, will again come under manufacturing overheads. Just in one of the examples later bit in cost sheet, we will see that they will tell us that there's CCTV involved in the factory. Uska expenditure is also a factory. Anything related to factory, it has to come under manufacturing overheads. Are we clear about this? Any other examples, guys? Electricity as such beta will form part of your overheads. Water में आपको अभी पूरे cost of utilities मत बोलो. We will just stick to electricity, guys. We are not going to write other expenses now. हाँ. You are saying something? हाँ? क्या? Freight. किसका freight बेटा? If freight is in relation to material, guys, will you include it as a manufacturing overhead or will you include it in the cost of raw material? Cost of raw material. लिख लिया बेटा यहाँ तक? हाँ? तू नहीं राघव लिख लिया बेटा यहाँ तक? कौन सा इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वर्ड बचे सो है? एक बार इसका नोटबुक चेक कर बेटा कहाँ तक लिखा. वो क्या लिख रहा था अभी तब से? नहीं वो वाली नहीं, वो बाजू वाली नोटबुक में क्या लिख रहा था? क्या लिख रहा तू तब से? प्रैक्टिस कर रहा था. घर वाले बोले हैंडराइटिंग अच्छी करो बोल के. ऑटोग्राफ का मैं किससे बात कर रहा हूँ मालूम है ना? Guess कर रहा है तो. So yes, CA.Raghav is not an autograph, it will be a signature. Are you getting it, beta? Once you become a chartered accountant, it is not like banks and clients will go behind you, sir, autograph, sir, okay. Okay, guys. Anyways, guys, electricity के बाद में any other expenditure? कुछ बोल रहे थे तुम लोग. हाँ, freight, guys, will never form part of. Why? Because if it is in relation to raw material, it should be added to the cost of raw material, and if it is in relation to finished product, it will come as a distribution overhead. It will not come as a part of manufacturing overhead. Taxes. कौन सा tax? Very good. They will use the word rates and taxes. Whenever the wording rates and taxes is used along with the word rent, it refers to property tax. And if it refers to property tax or municipal taxes, guys, it will be a manufacturing overhead. It will not be a direct expenditure. Income tax will not come under cost records anywhere. The objective is to maintain the cost of a product, guys. Income tax is payable on your income, so that will not appear anywhere as a part of your cost records. Property tax will come, and that will be considered as a part of overhead. Anything else? Commission payable to whom? कौन? Broker क्या कर रहा? Guys, commission मतलब ठीक है, it is payable to someone. Broker, very good. He's a broker, that is just getting commission. What is that broker doing? कुछ काम. Guys, let's say बेटा you're running a factory. तेरे लिए कोई तो ब्रोकर काम कर रहा. क्या काम कर रहा वो कि तू उसको कमीशन दे रहा? नेचर ऑफ वर्क, नेचर ऑफ वर्क क्या? एग्जाम्पल क्या बोलना बोल के उसको क्या देख रहा है यार तू? Guys, if there is a broker helping you guys buy raw material, the amount of brokerage that you pay to him will be added to the cost of raw material. If there is a broker helping you sell the finished product, the amount of commissions that you pay will be a part of selling expenditure. It will not be a part of manufacturing cost. अब और क्या कर रहा ब्रोकर बैठ के? हाँ, लाइसेंस ला रहा है. If there's any license, better factory licenses and all of that are taken, which are annual expenses, obviously they will come as part of your factory overheads. जैसे factory license अगर ले रहा है तो transportation between one department to another department as such, guys, if it is all in the same factory, it will be as a part of manufacturing expenditure. Installation will be added to the cost of generator. हाँ रहता भाई, it will be capitalized as a part of transformer. उसके बाद में उसका depreciation आता है यहाँ पे. Insurance of labor, very good बेटा. नहीं भाई, not necessary. We can have great people working for the organization बेटा. So shouldn't we insure the organization from them, guys? Malpractice insurance as such बेटा can be taken by the organization, but insurance of inventories अगर बोला guys, it will be insurance of inventories of raw material and work in progress, then it is a factory overhead. But if it is insurance of finished product, it's a distribution. एक बार finished product बन गया है, it is not a manufacturing expenditure anymore, because the expenditure is no longer required to bring the product to the present location and condition. That is why you will not include it under manufacturing cost. So insurance of inventories will not come. Insurance of raw material and work in progress will come better, but finished product will not come. Storage of raw material and work in progress will come. हाँ, फैक्ट्री रेंट आ गया ना बेटा, कितने बार लो फैक्ट्री? Other storage expenses, like if there's a storekeeper as such beta who's handling all of them, if there are records being maintained, all of them will still be expenses. All of those storage expenses will form part of your factory overheads. Any expenditure related to, very good beta. If there's research nahi beta, repairs and maintenance department, pura department related. Can you have your own internal repairs and maintenance? The objective is just to give you a very detailed list of all the expenses that is possible, guys, so that there should not be any confusion between what is an overhead, what is not an overhead. Can an organization have their own repairs and maintenance department? You go to a hospital as such, guys, which has about say 200 beds, 300 beds. Do you really think better that they're going to have an outsider, guys, who's going to come on call whenever there's any issue, or will they have an internal team? वो भी बेटा they outsource it to an agency. There'll be property, facility management services बोल के institutions रहते हैं, you outsource the entire thing to an external agency, they will take care of all the maintenance activities of the organization. So repairs and maintenance department, pollution control department. If you have a pollution control department as such beta, any expenditure related to that. Design department, again, if it is normal design department. If it is product specific design, कहाँ पे आएगा? Direct expenses. Packaging, अब वापस बेटा, packaging is not an overhead. अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बात किए. Primary packaging is, you're becoming the next moksha of the class. Guys, any amount of tax that you pay as such beta while buying material should be added to the. देखो बस वो पूछना है ना. What is octroi, guys? Octroi is levied from one location to an other location. You want to see, guys, it was levied, what now? AOC jab tha apna, even they used to levy a tax as such, guys, for commercial transportation of product, goods as such, guys, through their locality. Malum hai na AOC to apna baju. So earlier there was tax, that is octroi. So any amount of road tax beta that you pay for buying materials will be added to the cost of the material. Refreshment of yeah, any amount of employee welfare activities as such, guys, if it is not included in the computation of direct wages, will come as a part of indirect. Employee welfare मतलब क्या, guys? एक snooker का टेबल लगा लिया वहाँ पे, हाँ ठीक है, फिर रिफ्रेशमेंट्स दे रहे और हाँ ठीक है बेटा, जो भी कंटिन्यूसली यू हैव, जान दो guys अभी, लेट्स नॉट दो, बच्चों से बात कर रहा हूँ, हाँ, एनी टाइप ऑफ charges. Traveling charge of whom beta? Of employees. What is that employee working for and why is he traveling and why are we reimbursing his traveling? If he's working for a department, usually, guys, travel reimbursement comes for sales employees. It does not come for manufacturing employees. Manufacturing employees ka traveling reimbursement may come if that person is a technician or a subject matter expert and you have factories at multiple locations. Are we clear, guys? Then the amount of traveling reimbursement that you're paying, guys, is a manufacturing cost. Sales department walo ka, guys, it is not this. Bas karo bhai, bas ho gaya, हाँ. Office, फैक्ट्री में कैंटीन अगर है बेटा, इट विल बी इंक्लूडेड एज अ पार्ट ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. खाना अगर उनको दे रहे तो यस बेटा. क्या ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहा है? वेरी गुड गाइस. वाई गाइस, मैं क्या बिगाड़ा तुम्हारा? मैं अब भी थोड़ी देर पहले बोला गाइस, मैं एनी एक्सपेंडिचर दैट यू आर इंकरिंग इन रिलेशन टू प्रोक्योरमेंट ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल शुड बी एडेड टू कॉस्ट ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल. व्हाई डू यू इंकर ट्रांसिट इंश्योरेंस टू प्रोक्योर रॉ मटेरियल? शुड इट बी एडेड टू द कॉस्ट ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल? ये मटेरियल्स चैप्टर पढ़ाते समय बोला भी, द वर्ड इंश्योरेंस हियर मींस ट्रांसिट इंश्योरेंस. लेटर इफ दे यूज द वर्ड इंश्योरेंस, इट विल नॉट बी ट्रांसिट इंश्योरेंस, इट विल बी स्टोरेज इंश्योरेंस. If it is storage insurance, it will not come as a part of raw material cost, it will come as a part of, देख रहा लिस्ट तो नेक्स्ट पेज में चले गया. फर्स्ट पेज में है ना, स्टोर कीपिंग, रिपेयर्स एंड मेंटेनेंस, पूरे खत्म कर दिया मैं. वो आगे पूरे, अयो बेचारा पूरा पढ़ लिया गया. जो प्रिंटिंग एंड, कौन कौन बोल रहा है? प्रिंटिंग एंड स्टेशनरी. वेरी गुड बेटा. सर लोन इंटरेस्ट इफ एनी, हाँ बस गाइस, वो 1 2 3 है बेटा. हाँ तो मारो रे तुम लोग, तालियां मारते रहो, रिजल्ट आते तालियां मारो. yes guys, first let me finish beta. Printing and stationery, unless otherwise given as office and administration expenditure, it is not factory expenditure beta. Tools and consumables is a word used only if they are used for machineries. You manufacture machineries. The parts of that machinery will be raw material for you, direct material. Guys, if your business is to manufacture machines, whatever materials are required for those machines, obviously they are not manufacturing overheads. No, they are raw materials. Legal expenses, guys, will come as a part of office and admin. Audit fees, legal expenses, all of them will come under office and administration expenses. Transportation cost on account of purchase returns. Very good beta. Any amount of transportation cost that you incur on returning materials, guys. परसों जो पढ़ाया, एटलीस्ट याद करके बोला ना. हाँ कितनी जल्दी आप ही परसों बोले करते. वेरी गुड बेटा. हाँ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट गाइस ऑन रिटर्न ऑफ मटेरियल्स. चपम्मा. Commission is paid to a broker for hire of labor. depending on the category of labor, better perfect, it will either be included as a direct employee cost and indirect employee cost. But you have to see for which purpose are you hiring that employee. If it's a factory worker, it will be added to the cost of factory worker wages. Loss of inventories in few cases, guys, might be considered as an overhead as such, better. Otherwise, we normally transfer it to P&L account. There were 1 or 2 instances, guys, in materials chapter wherein they told us better that loss of inventories as such, beta, would be considered as an overhead. If that is the case, beta, you will add it to the cost, you will add it to overheads. तुम लोग ना, तुम एक्सप्लेनेशन बोल रहा हो ना, सुन ही नहीं रहे. तुम्हारे दिमाग में एक वर्ड है, ऐसा वेट कर रहे कब बंद करता बोल के. ये अरे सुन लो रे, खा तो एक्सप्लेनेशन भी. हाँ, पोस्टेज एंड स्टेशनरी. गाइस, कोई भाई है? हाँ, very good, guys. Any expenditure related to factory, guys, factory overhead. All right, if the wording uses postage, printing, stationery, and they do not specify anything, by default they will be office and administrative expenses. I think better this is sufficient. बहुत हो गया तमाशा. I do not want to discuss this anymore. Uddu, हाँ, correct, beta. Indirect material exam. He's still stuck with the example of tools and consumables because he just want to. वो थोड़े लोग रहते हैं बेटा जिंदगी में that take a decision and then ensure that you make that decision right. These are the people, guys, who also succeed in life. You cannot delay decision making. They're like, खत्म करो जो भी है, you get done with it. If that is wrong, take steps to move on. नहीं बेटा. Guys, I'm done, beta. हाँ. Very good, beta. All of those fire safety expenses, guys, will come. If it is in factory, beta, will come as a part of factory overheads. So सिर्फ मिट्टी रखने से नहीं होगा बेटा. You have to maintain CO2 cylinders also. पहले जो वो लोग बकेट में मिट्टी रखते थे बेटा, that is for पान थूकना. Relatable, right, guys? Guys, guys, cleaning expenses of the factory also, guys, will form part of factory overheads. Are we clear? Now shut your mouth and sit. Shut your mouth and sit, guys. Office and administration expenses ke overheads ke everything that you incur under office and administrative expenses beta will always be an over. Guys, ये सब मजाक में नहीं था बेटा. They're very important because cost sheet comes as a 10-marker question in every attempt. And if you can identify what is factory overhead, what is office and administration overhead, guys, those are free 10 marks. So it is not that I want to waste time here. I want to save time on the cost sheet chapter that I'm going to do after 30 days. But if I do all of those expenses now and revise it later, you will remember it for a longer period. That's the intention. I don't need all of this classification for this chapter. In this chapter, they will tell us these are the overheads, allocate. They will not ask you whether it is an overhead or not. Are we clear? But it will be useful if we try to understand. Jaldi bolo be. Cost of rectification of defective products beta is also considered as an overhead. Excellent beta. Overtime premium, guys. If overtime premium as such beta is charged as overhead, we have learned, even that will come here. He kya bola tha to cost of rectification of defectives. Ab bas beta, I do not want to write more. Are we clear about this? तुमको कॉपी भी करना है सब. जरा सोच के एग्जांपल्स हो देखो अभी और थे. Any amount of general expenditure that you incur, guys, which is not a manufacturing expenditure, which is not a selling and distribution expenditure, is written under the common category of office and administration expenditure, except there is one part that we are going to do later, something called as interest expenditure. Normally interest is not considered as a part of cost sheet. Lately, guys, see, everyone, there's no fixed rule that you should include, you should not include. Sabka apna apna tarika rehta hai. So few people say that we include interest but not as a part of any of these expenses, as a separate line item altogether in the cost sheet. We will add it in the end that this is the total amount of interest expenditure that we have incurred. Why am I talking about this? If it is not interest, if it is not manufacturing expenditure, if it is not selling and distribution expenditure, it has to come under Office and administration expenditure. The audit fees that you're getting it done. Someone spoke about legal fees. All the salaries of directors, even if that director is a technical director, meaning they might use the word, guys, salary of production director. Hoga production director, that does not mean, guys, that is helping only in production activity. He is overseeing all the affairs of the organization. That is why it will not be a manufacturing. ये बहुत important है. Even if they use the word technical director or production director, you should not put it under. You should put it under office and admin. There might be few admin expenses related to production. अब ये further classification I'm not going to explain now. We will talk about this under cost sheet. Two types of admin expenses related to production, admin expenses which are generally related to the organization. तो अभी के लिए if there's any salary of directors साथ बेटा including क्या बोला मैं, technical director, like production director. If there's any expenditure related to office building, guys, office building related depreciation है, office building related insurance है, office building related rent है, maintenance है, guys, repairs, office electricity, guys, all of that will form part of office and administration expenses. Are we clear, guys? Selling and distribution expenses में बेटा there are two differentiations if you would want to bifurcate them. For ये बस से, guys, अभी ठीक है. अब ये एक सेकेंड, तुम क्या बोले थे? प्रिंटिंग एंड स्टेशनरी, इवन दैट विल कम हियर बेटा. पोस्टेज, लीज रेंटल फॉर, guys, O for operating, O for office will not decide whether it is office or not. That's not. Can you not take a manufacturing asset under an operating lease? Who said that you're supposed to take only an office asset for an operating lease? Guys, the ones who do not know, let's not talk about it. We will learn it in accounts. There's something called as operating lease and finance lease. वो यहाँ पे नहीं आएगा. हाँ, franchisee fees that we pay, is it fixed or is it as a part of revenue? Or fixed franchisee fee as such, guys, we still include as a part of overall manufacturing cost rather than including it here. But franchisees usually come for direct consumer businesses, and if it is just a product better that is being sold which is directly coming from the manufacturing entity, then it will come as a part of selling expenditure only. So देखना पड़ेगा किसके लिए है बोल के. So selling and distribution में how do you in turn differentiate, guys? Any expenditure that you incur, guys, to make the customer aware of the product is a selling expenditure. Any expenditure that you incur to bring the product to the customer's location is a distribution expenditure. So making the customer aware is selling expenditure. Distribution as such beta is delivering the product. So if they use the word warehousing charges, it will come under warehousing, guys, is a word that we use in relation to finished product. If they talk about transportation, guys, transportation and insurance of finished products, it will come as a part of distribution expenditure. Secondary packaging as a part of distribution expenditure. Selling expenditure bolo beta. Advertisement, sales department के salaries as such beta. Commission that is payable, sales का जो, हाँ, they have given this example in one of the questions of cost sheet. Website for online sales, traveling expenses of those employees, all of this will come under selling and distribution expenditure. Anyways, are we all clear about this, guys? So just remember, any expenditure that is not directly attributable to any product would be classified as an overhead. We have the classification of direct and indirect only under manufacturing expenses. Under the head office and administration, guys, and selling and distribution, there is no direct expenditure. मेरे को मालूम नहीं था बेटा, मैं कौन सेट ले रहा हूँ तुम सबका यहाँ पे मिलके, बच्चे बैठ के ऐसे कर रहे. So only under office and administration expenses, guys, and selling and distribution, you will have overheads. You will not have any direct expenses. Are we clear? This was the first classification of overheads that is based on functions or activities. Are we clear about this? Based on functions, this is how we divide. You all know the other classifications. I'm not concerned about that. Let's say one is classification based on variability. How do you classify expenses on the basis of variability or on the basis of behavior in relation to output? Variable, fixed and semi-variable. Even here guys you can have variable, fixed and semi-variable. Are we clear guys? We have classification on the basis of element. What will be classification on the basis of element? Indirect material, indirect employee cost, indirect expenses. Are we clear? Chalo beta, let's start writing. Remember guys, if there's any notional expenditure, even that notional expenditure is supposed to form part of your cost sheet. This is not financial records beta, these are cost records. We include even notional expenses. What are notional expenses? There's no outflow of money beta, it is the cost of utilizing your own resources. आगे अभी नहीं आएगा, आगे कभी तो भी देखेंगे बेटा. They will mention notional rent. If they mention notional rent, they will still include it in the computation of total cost of the product. Any notional expenditure should be included as a part of your cost records. Are we clear guys? Yes or no guys? Implicit cost beta. Second classification beta, based on the nature of expenditure. You divide them into what beta? Fixed overheads. I will not give detailed examples here beta, just 1-2 for your understanding. जरूरत नहीं है, मतलब हो गया ऊपर जो भी लिखाना था. जैसे you will have depreciation guys, you will have factory rent. Can they be considered as fixed overheads? Yes or no? Variable overheads guys. Electricity expenditure, job work beta is a direct expenditure. It will not come under this. Tools and consumables. All the expenses related to machineries as such beta would be higher if the usage is higher. Then semi-variable. कोई example आएगा नहीं. Based on elements guys. Based on elements क्या रहेगा guys? Indirect materials. हाँ, ये जो tools and consumables है बेटा, that will come as a part of indirect materials only. Indirect employee cost. Salary of supervisor or foreman. You know what's a foreman, right? What's a foreman? The one who works with the factory is called as? The one who leads guys or who supervises an entire production department is called as a foreman. You can say floor manager. So the one who's leading that particular department guys is a foreman. Indirect expenses guys. You will have insurance, depreciation. And then beta there is based on controllability. You will divide them into what? Controllable and uncontrollable. ये सब उतना वो relevant नहीं है बेटा. You just know the classification based on functions or activities. Sound. इसमें नहीं रहते बेटा ज़्यादा. They consider electricity as semi-variable, but in reality it is not. Semi-variable इसलिए रहता बेटा that everyone has a fixed charge. Electricity का. Commercial departments you will see commercial जैसे here also for RCA also there is a fixed amount of electricity expenditure that we have to pay every month irrespective of the usage. That depends on the capacity that is allocated. So if you take a connection of 5 kVA, the fixed charge is less. If you take a connection of 10 kVA, the fixed charge is more. 15 kVA even higher. So people take connections based on that usage only. अभी आजकल electricity department वाले households को भी notices दे रहे हैं. Few of them have meters of 2 kVA, but their consumption is more than 2 kVA per month. So they find them and they ask them to change their connections, pay a higher amount of fixed cost and get it upgraded to a higher amount. So that is why people say that it is semi-variable. हो गया guys? अब आता है guys main. We are now talking about manufacturing overheads. let's start the practical aspect of the chapter. Manufacturing overheads. There's absolutely no problem, guys, in identification of direct cost with the end product. This is what we have been learning in the last two topics. Let's not forget the name of the paper is Cost and Management Accounting, but I told you guys that the primary goal is costing, ascertainment of cost. There's very little of management accounting covered in our syllabus. Majorly it is only cost accounting. When you say costing, your job is to arrive at the cost of the end product that is being manufactured. Are we clear? Yes or no? For the purpose of arriving at the cost of the end product, guys, you will obviously have to allocate all the direct expenses, which comprises of direct material, direct employee and direct expenses. Other than that, you will have to allocate all the manufacturing overheads. Problem with manufacturing overheads is that it is not identifiable with any product. Directly identifiable. Just because it is not directly identifiable, that does not mean we do not allocate it. We still have to allocate all of these expenses to the end product. What we learn now, beta, is how do we allocate these expenses to the end product? Okay. The goal here is to identify how the expenses are supposed to be allocated to the end product. The wording used for this, beta, is absorption or recovery. There was this one question that we did in labor in which they gave us the total factory cost of a product. And they asked us to compute normal rate of wages and the amount of direct material cost. In that question, they told us that the overhead rate was 5 rupees per hour. That is their absorption rate. If there is 1 hour of work performed, you are going to allocate an overhead of, if there 2 hours of work, 10 rupees. We are now going to learn वो लोग ये कैसे determine करें. Why should we divide per man hour? Why not by something else? And how did they get that? 5 rupee is the end goal here. Are we all clear about this? Whatever we are learning in this chapter is the traditional method of overheads. The modern method as such, beta, is something called as activity based costing. Sachin, जोर से बोल. The modern method, guys, is activity based costing. That's another chapter which we will do later. Abhi ke liye traditional method. So to absorb overheads, this chapter says instead of directly allocating overheads to the end product, what we will do is we will allocate manufacturing overheads to the different departments of an organization. From those departments, we will take it forward and allocate to the end product. Directly जाके end product में नहीं डालेंगे. We are going to first allocate it to different departments. It may not be possible for us to directly establish a relation between the expenditure and the end product. That is why we will first establish a relation between the expenditure and the departments. These departments of an organization are segregated into two categories called as production departments and service departments. Production departments are the ones that are directly engaged in manufacturing activity. Service departments are support functions. I am still talking only about manufacturing expenses. I am not coming to office and admin or selling and distribution. A support department in the organization can be repairs and maintenance department, whose job is to maintain all the machines that are being used in the organization. Possible or not, guys? समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ? So any department that is directly engaged in production activity is called as a production department, guys. Any department that is only servicing or helping the production departments will be termed as a service department. Are we clear? So what we do, guys, is first we undertake something called as primary distribution of overheads. Primary distribution of overheads, guys, is overhead allocation to different departments. चाहे वो production रहने दो, service रहने दो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. We are first going to allocate all the overheads to different departments. This process is also known as allocation and apportionment. Very important that we remember all the terms. The word allocation is used when an overhead is directly related to a specific product. Sharon, I cannot see your face, but do you want to leave the class? The word allocation is used, guys, when an overhead, guys, is directly related to a specific department, not related to a specific product. Anything that is directly related to a specific product is no longer an overhead, guys. It is a direct expenditure. I am not talking about direct expenses. I'm only talking about I'm only talking about, there's no direct overhead, guys. I'm only talking about manufacturing overheads. AS2, yaad hai? They used to use the word direct overhead, sir. I told you there's nothing called direct overhead. It is variable overhead. But anyways, guys, allocation and apportionment. Allocation is a word used when an expenditure is directly attributable to a specific department. The word apportionment is used when an expenditure is commonly incurred for multiple departments. Okay? If there is an expenditure that is being incurred for multiple departments, you are going to apportion that expenditure. समझ में आ गया बेटा क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Yes or no? Can you give an example, guys, of any expenditure which will be directly related to a specific department? हाँ बेटा, मतलब क्या क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं? कौन सी सैलरी? If there are employees, guys, working only for a specific department, undoubtedly the salaries that are payable to that department employees or such, guys, will become what? Allocation. You have a technician is working only for a specific department. Whatever salary that you're paying to that specific technician, what will that become? Allocation of expenditure, directly identifiable. Any other example? Design. अगर डिपार्टमेंट स्पेसिफिक डिजाइन अगर है गाइस, सो लाइक दिस देयर कैन बी अ लॉन्ग लिस्ट ऑफ एक्सपेंसेस गाइस. याद रखना, अगर एक्सपेंडिचर डायरेक्टली आइडेंटिफाइबल है, व्हाट इज द वर्ड दैट वी यूज्ड? Apportionment, I told you, is a word that we use when expenses are commonly incurred. Electricity expenditure, will you have a separate meter for each department? Not possible, guys. Usually we will not have a separate meter, guys, for each department, though organizations, if they want, they can do that for proper allocation of expenses. If the amount of consumption of electricity is too high, it is not that billing will be done on the basis of those meters. That is only internal, guys, for the purpose of cost allocation. You walk into any hospital as such, beta, you will see that there are people who sell products inside the hospital also. Sell products मतलब बेटा अपने नहीं, medicines नहीं, medicine is usually owned by the hospital only, guys. खाने की चीज़ है. You may have those tea and everything that is sold. So for that as such, guys, they will have a separate meter assigned to them. They will have to bear the electricity expenditure, guys, of that area by themselves. मतलब on the basis of the meter reading, guys, they will have to allocate a certain amount of bill. So anyways, electricity will be allocation or apportionment? Apportionment. Factory rent? Apportionment. Again, factory rent is not, that is something incurred for a specific product. It is incurred for multiple products. That is why, guys, it will be a case of apportionment. Are we clear about this? Yes or no, guys? When you perform this primary distribution of overheads, I told you that you do not differentiate between a production department and a service department. You will distribute expenses to all of them. The problem is, we will not be able to transfer expenses from service department to the end product. There will be no relation between the service department and the end product as such, beta, as far as the overheads are concerned. We will be able to establish a relation, guys, between production department and the end product. We will not be able to establish a relation between service department and the end product. Is that clear, guys? This is where we will have to perform something called as secondary distribution of overheads. I'm giving you an overview of the entire chapter, so that when I'm solving questions, guys, you should be able to understand about secondary distribution, guys. What do we do here is, from service departments, we are going to allocate cost as such, beta, back to production departments. उसको बोलते हैं secondary distribution or reapportionment. What did we do so far? First, You identify what are all the departments of the organization. Few of them will be production departments, few of them will be. Are we supposed to do that in the examination? No. They will tell us directly which department of yours are production departments, which department of yours are service departments. Our job will be allocation and apportionment. If an expenditure is directly related, go and write under that particular department column. If an expenditure is not directly related, you will apportion it on a reasonable basis. Are we clear about this? When you do this, you are allocating and apportioning expenses not only to production departments, guys, but also to service departments. Just be in 2 minutes. When you do this, guys, you are allocating expenditure to both production as well as service departments. The problem is that you will not be able to allocate expenditure from service departments to end product. This is where we undertake something called as secondary distribution, also known as. Under reapportionment, we transfer back service department cost to production departments. Sir, masti kyun kare pehle? Why did we even have to distribute to service departments? Why can't we directly distribute to? If you would have directly transferred overheads only to production departments, we do not have to worry about reapportionment करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है ना बेटा. First, let's say beta that we have 3 production departments A, B and C. There are 2 service departments X and Y. While performing primary distribution, I said we will allocate expenses to all the departments including. Now I'm telling you that we will transfer these expenses back to production departments. The first step, primary distribution. Second step, when you're transferring it back, it is called as amount वही रहने वाला है. Amount is not going to change. If this amount is say 3 lakhs, this is 4 lakhs, this is 2 lakhs. Total कितना हुआ? 9 lakhs. Let's say beta that this is 75,000 and this is 25,000. Total 10 lakhs. The sum total of these 3 expenses will be 10 lakhs only. That amount cannot change. But why are we undertaking primary apportionment to service departments also, and why under secondary distribution are we transferring overheads back from service departments to production departments? Performance. To know the performance of service departments, we can send one bin to cost accounting department. Nahi beta. Nahi, हाँ. The service departments are working for the production departments. Very good answer, guys. The proportion of service that is rendered by service departments to production departments need not be same. A very simple example is such beta. Let's say there are 3 adults who are going to eat food as such beta. One among them brings 10 kids along with them. All right. So है तो है बेटा. Goals, priority, हाँ. And vision. क्या बोलते तुम लोग ऐसे में जो पढ़ रहे बेटा सब लगा लो हाँ. So here guys, there are 3 adults as such guys going, and there are kids also बेटा. ठीक है Parth. The 10 kids as such guys who go along with them. Bill आता है बेटा. They want to distribute this bill. Here our Vikas expert says बच्चे वो थोड़ी bill pay करेंगे. So we should divide the bill directly by 3 adults. The 2 adults with them as such beta, let's say are Dhairya and Tanish. Do you think it would be appropriate for Dhairya and Tanish to share the expenses of those 10 kids? Huh? Think of those 10 kids as such guys, a service department in the given example. They cannot bear cost. The correct allocation beta would be first divide the bill among those 13 people. You may not divide equally as such guys among 13 people because बच्चे कितना तो खाएंगे बेटा ठूस के. हाँ. You might consider 2 kids as 1 adult as such guys. जो भी basis है, you will first allocate to those 10 kids also, and after that who will have to bear the expenses of those 10 kids? Vikas. Yes, महंगा ही है बेटा, कुछ नहीं कर सकते. ये समझ में आया? This is a classic example of why under primary apportionment you will have to first allocate expenses to all the departments including service departments, and after that service department expenditure beta will be allocated to production departments. Are we clear? Let's say beta that this service department X beta is a maintenance department. लोगों को तो maintain करेगा नहीं बेटा. ये किसको maintain करेगा? machineries. What if guys production department A and 2 are machine intensive, department C is labor intensive, मतलब वहां पे कोई machine का काम नहीं है, it is all manual work. So don't you think the expenditure incurred under maintenance department X will be reapportioned only to? This is the reason why we need reapportionment. We cannot directly allocate expenses better to production departments. Are we clear? Once we finish primary and secondary distribution of overheads, that is once we finish allocation, apportionment and reapportionment. नहीं, मैं गाना गा रहा था बेटा. So once we finish apportionment, allocation, apportionment and reapportionment, guys, the only thing that is left is allocating expenses from production department to the end product, जिसको बोलते हैं absorption of overheads. लिखा है था क्या ऊपर word? हाँ. How that is done, I will talk about it. There's something called as blanket rate, departmental rate, on the basis of machine hours, on the basis of labor hours, on the basis of material costs. But did you get an overview of the entire chapter? Yes or no, guys? The first few questions, we are only concerned about primary and secondary distribution. Once we are done with that, we will move on to absorption of overheads. Once we are done with absorption also, we will have under or over recovery of overheads. Under or over recovery of overheads, what would mean? What if you have absorbed less or what if you have absorbed more? Understand absorption better like this. 10 friends have decided to play a match. They rent as such, guys, a ground. Let's say that the charge is 5,000 rupees. So how much should be the amount that should be paid by each person? That's the recovery rate, absorption rate. Not necessary 10 people turn up. Not necessary that the expenditure gets restricted to 5,000. Is there a possibility that 9 people only turn up? तो 10वां बंदा है वो घर पे बैठे थोड़ी बोलेगा कि मैं 500 रुपए भिजा रहा हूँ बोल के. हाँ कि ना बेटा करमन. So obviously those 9 people, guys, will have to now share more expenditure. And what if better 12 people turn up? Expenditure will reduce. So there can be a case of under recovery or over recovery. That will be the last part of the chapter and हो गया खत्म. बीच में एक नया concept भी आता, which says instead of absorbing overheads department wise, we will absorb overheads machine wise. When one step further, it says not necessary that in one department, guys, expenditure should be common for all the machines. Few machines can have a higher share of expenditure, few machines can have a lower share of expenditure. So rather than absorbing overheads on the basis of a department, we can absorb overheads on the basis of, that will be even better allocation. फिर ABC आता, activity based costing. वो बोलता है सब वाहियात. I'll tell you a better way of absorbing overheads. जहाँ पे भी बेटा there are overheads, remember cost is never accurate. Ultimately, we are all dividing expenses on some reasonable basis. That is why, guys, there's nothing called as this is the most accurate cost of a product. Are we all clear about this? Any doubt in this, beta? Now, guys, whenever expenses are commonly incurred for multiple departments, you will need an allocation basis, guys, to apportion those expenses to different departments. Yes or no? Yes, if at all, guys, it is factory rent. It will be allocated, guys, to different departments on the basis of something called as floor area. Kitna area is occupied by each department. On that basis, can I allocate this factory rent to all the departments? Yes or no, guys? If there is electricity expenditure, guys, we can do it on the basis of number of machine hours. But if they give machine hours and the capacity of machine like horsepower or kilowatt hours, it is important that we multiply by that. Imagine that there is machine 1 that if used for 1 hour consumes about 40 units of electricity. There's machine 2 that if used for 1 hour consumes only 4 units of electricity. Now I cannot divide electricity expenditure, guys, equally between both the machines. Can I? That is why you will have to multiply the number of hours for which the machines were used with horsepower will tell us better the capacity of the machine. So higher the horsepower, higher will be the electricity consumption. Are we clear about this? अगर ये दोनों नहीं है, if only machine hours are given, then you will assume that all the machines have equal amount of horsepower. Or if only horsepower is given, we will have to assume that all the machines are being used for equal number of hours. But if you have details given, guys, for both the values, both the factors, you will have to consider both of them. You cannot consider only a single factor. Is that clear, guys? Yes or no, beta? So ये हो गया factory rent, electricity. Let's say, guys, they give us rates and taxes. If it is anything related to factory rent, guys, it will get apportioned on the basis of floor area only. If it is supervisor, guys, it will either be on the basis of number of machines or number of employees. A supervisor is given, guys, a task of supervising specific number of machines or specific number of employees. Are you getting this, guys? If it is canteen expenses, better वो सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट में करेंगे, जान दो, अभी जरूरत नहीं है. Are we all understanding this? I'm just giving few random examples better for our understanding. Let's say better you have some miscellaneous expenses. If there are any miscellaneous expenses or sundry expenses, guys, first preference will be machine hours or labor hours. If machine hours or labor hours are not given, then we can do it on the basis of direct wages. I repeat, if machine hours or labor hours are not given, then you can do it on the basis of, you have to allocate those miscellaneous expenses or sundry expenses on some basis. This is all for what? Allocation or apportionment? Allocation, you do not need a basis, guys. This is apportionment. Apportionment matlab common expenses. The fact that you have common expenses, guys, you will have to allocate them on some basis. This is that basis. Is that clear? Copy beta example बोल के. General lighting अगर दिया तो बेटा, general lighting is not the expenditure that is consumed by machines, guys. So this can be done either on the basis of number of light points or floor area. Higher the area, higher will be the light points. Number of light points or floor area. Rates and taxes are nothing but better levied on the total amount of area occupied by the factory. Higher the area, higher will be the amount of rate and tax. वैसा अगर नहीं है कुछ और basis है, they will specify. These are just few random examples, beta, but otherwise allocation basis is given in the question itself. These are examples for allocation, guys. So what did we just do, guys? End goal was what? Overheads to the end product. Instead of allocating overheads to the end product, what did we do? First, production and service departments. This is called as what? Primary distribution. This primary distribution includes what? Allocation and apportionment. After allocation and apportionment, what we did beta is we transferred cost only to, this is service to production. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Reapportionment or secondary distribution of overheads. From production departments, beta, finally it will go to end product, which is called as absorption or recovery of overheads. Copy करो बेटा ये as it is. Absorption or recovery of overheads. चलो बेटा. So guys, we started off the basic discussion of overheads. We discussed what are the different types of overheads. Rudraksh, we've discussed the various types of overheads, better manufacturing overheads, selling and distribution overheads, administration overheads, all the examples done. Then I told you about the procedure for allocation of overheads. First, guys, I told you instead of directly transferring overheads better to the end product, we will first allocate overheads better or identify overheads with different departments. For this purpose, we will divide the departments better into production departments and service departments. This process is called as primary distribution of overheads. Once that is done, once that is done better, we will reapportion overheads, guys, from service departments to production departments, known as secondary distribution of overheads, also known as reapportionment of overheads. Once that is done, guys, from production departments, overheads will be allocated or transferred to the end product, called as absorption or recovery of overheads. I told you about primary apportionment, guys. We were discussing secondary. Secondary distribution, guys. Now we have to do the methods of reapportionment. So there are primary three methods, guys, for reapportionment. There's something called as direct method, and then we have something called as step method or non-reciprocal, And then guys, we have reciprocal method. Under reciprocal, we have three methods: repeated redistribution, simultaneous equation, trial and error method. It is not that we have a choice in selection of method. It all depends on what is the amount of service that is rendered, guys, by one service department to the other service departments or to the production departments. I gave an example the other day, guys, wherein we had 3 production departments and 2 service departments. If service department is rendering service, let's say only to production departments, X renders 50% service to A, 30% service to B, 20% service to C, and Y renders, let's say better, 10%, 40% and 50%. There's no service that is rendered by one service department to an other service department. If that is the case, whatever is the amount of overheads that were allocated and apportioned to the service departments will be directly redistributed to the production departments. There will be no internal transfer of overheads from one service department to an other service department, because there is no service that is rendered by one service department to another service department. That is why the name is direct method. So direct method is applicable when service department renders service only to, because it renders service only to production departments, whatever is the amount of overheads that have been accumulated in a service department will be directly apportioned to production departments. Either they will directly tell us what is the percentage service, or they will tell us better what is the basis of reapportionment. Just if it is maintenance department, guys, we might do it on the basis of machine hours. Higher the usage of machine, higher will be the maintenance time. So on that basis, we might have to allocate, guys, the total amount of service department cost to the other production departments. Are you all clear about the meaning of the word direct method? Ab guys, common sense use karke bolo, Hassan. What can be non-reciprocal method? Now that I've defined direct method, wherein service departments are not rendering service to the other service departments, guys, what will be non-reciprocal method? Hassan. Service department is rendering some service to the other service department. Can you explain a little more better? उतने पे स्टॉप नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज अगर उतने पे स्टॉप हो गया तो फिर अगले के लिए क्या बचा के रखोगे? Because you have one more method better called as reciprocal method. If you're ending everything here only, then I should remove this from the syllabus. Y does not render service back to the previous department X. Non-reciprocal beta is exactly what he said. One service department is rendering service to the other, while the other does not render service to the first service department. Not necessary that there should only be 2 service departments. There can be any number of service departments, but let's say if there are 4 service departments, S1, S2, S3, S4. S1 is rendering service to S2, S3, S4. S2 renders service only to S3 and S4. S3 renders service only to S4. S4 does not render service to S1, S2, S3. S4 is rendering service only to your production departments. समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोलना चाह रहा हूँ? So that will be called as non-reciprocal method. A service department renders service to the other service department, but the other does not render service back to the service department from which it is receiving its service. See, it is not about their wish, guys. It is about the nature of the service department. समझ में आ रहा है? It all depends on that as such, beta. It does not depend on whether we want to allocate service or not. So if this is a scenario as such, guys, how will you allocate overheads? First, we will reapportion overhead cost of, in my example here, S1, S2, S3, S4, S1 ke cost. Because a part of cost of S1 will also go and sit under S2, S3, S4. There's no point in reapportioning S4 cost first, because after S4, if you reapportion S1, a part of S1 cost will again go and sit under S4. That again you will have to reapportion. Answer वही आने वाला है. But it's not like वेले बैठे से बेटा काम है. So that is why which department will be reapportioned first? We will reapportion S1 first. After you reapportion S1, obviously you will move on to S2. When you're reapportioning S2, you will not only include the primary distribution of S2, but you will also include the amount that got redistributed from S1. Correct, beta Vansh? And then beta, when you reapportion S3, you will have a part of the amount coming in from S1, coming in from S2, and the amount beta that was originally allocated to S3. Finally, you will reapportion department S4 that will directly go only to production departments. Usko bolte hain non-reciprocal method or step method. Are we clear about this? Any doubt in this? Now, what will be reciprocal method? There is mutual service, a reciprocal service that is being rendered, guys, among the service departments. S1 renders service to S2, S3, S4. S2 is rendering service to S1, S3, S4. S3 renders service to all of them. Usually when it is reciprocal method, they will give only two service departments. One, your life and my life will get complicated. Because यहाँ पे सिर्फ मस्ती करना रहता बेटा. When you reapportion S1, you will have to reapportion it to all the production departments and all the service departments. Then when you reapportion S2, S1 will come back into picture. You reapportion S3, S2 will come back into picture. You reapportion S4, S3 also will come. You again start with S1. You will have to reapportion that to S2, S3, S4. The process continues because the number of steps increases. They give only two service departments when it is on a reciprocal basis. We still do the same process जो अभी मैं तुमको बोला उसको ही बोलते हैं repeated redistribution method. You will keep redistributing overheads on a repeated basis until beta the amount reduces to 1 rupee or 10 rupees. Where the amount becomes negligible and you will directly apportion that amount to the production departments. It will no longer be apportioned as such beta to the other service departments. You have to keep doing it on a continuous basis. Uska hi modified form is simultaneous equation and trial and error method. What is that? I will tell you. मतलब कुछ नहीं है. Same thing. Instead of presenting it in the form of a statement, we'll present it in the form of an equation. Answer वही आने वाला है. Answer is not going to change. All right. Are we all clear about methods of reapportionment? So when do we use direct method? Excellent, beta. हाँ करमन. When service department guys does not see service department has to render service to production department. इसका काम ही वही है. That is why it is called as a service department. What you should be answering beta is that service department does not render service to. Are we clear, mastermind? So, acha, you know what's written on your t-shirt, huh? So guys, are we all clear? Are we all clear about this? Example beta. Let's say you have PD1, PD2. What will be PD1, PD2? SD1, SD2 beta will be service department 1 and service department 2. SD1 renders a 70% service to PD1, 30% service to PD2, nothing to SD1, SD2. SD2 renders a 40% service to PD1, 60% service to PD2, nothing to SD1 and SD2. Srinivas and Raghav. These are the amount of services rendered, guys. And let's say beta the amount as per primary distribution. I hope you remember what is primary distribution, but the amount of overheads, guys, as per primary distribution. Under PD1, let's say beta that the amount is 10 lakh rupees. Under PD2, the amount is 15 lakhs. Under SD1, the amount is 5 lakhs. Under SD2, the amount is 3 lakhs. ये जो 5 lakhs of SD1 है SD2 है बेटा, it cannot be included there. It has to be reapportioned. The whole point of secondary distribution is that only. Because it is direct method, guys. What will you do? This SD1 का amount will get distributed to whom? PD1 and PD2. In what ratio are we going to apportion it? 70-30. So 3,50,000 will go to PD1, guys. 1,50,000 will go to PD2. This will get eliminated. Pura 5 lakhs. Likewise, beta SD2 ka cost will get distributed to PD1 and PD2. What will be the amount, guys, or in what proportion? 40-60. So this beta will be 3 lakhs ka 40%, 1,20,000, and 3 lakhs ka 60%, 1,80,000. This 3 lakhs will get eliminated. So after this, guys, the total amount of departmental overheads in PD1 will be 14,70,000. In PD2 beta it will become 18,30,000. Remember, secondary distribution of overheads does not increase the amount of overheads. It is just that instead of absorbing it from service departments, we are going to absorb it from production departments. That's the whole point of distributing it again. Are we clear about this? Can a service department render service to its own department? Definitely yes, better. Let's say there's a maintenance department that has own machines for maintaining. Can they maintain their own machines? Yes, but you will not be able to allocate cost to itself. Even if they render service to themselves, the cost will still be allocated to the other departments. वो percentage में नहीं आएगा. Guys, उसका doubt समझे क्या बोल रहा हूँ मैं? Let's say guys that there is service department 1 that is into maintenance. ठीक है? The total amount of hours that they worked for PD1 is, let's say, 5,000 hours. For PD2 they have worked for, let's say, 4,000 hours. For their own department SD1 they have worked for 500 hours. And for SD2 they have worked for 1,000 hours. When you compute this percentages for secondary distribution of overhead, you should ignore this. Take the total as only 10,000. If you include that in the total, you will end up allocating expenses of SD1 to itself. That is not the point, beta. The whole point is allocating the amount to the other department. So the percentages would be 50%, 40% and 10%. You will not include the amount of service that it is rendering to itself. You can never include. Are we clear about this? हाँ, ये कॉपी कर लिया सब लोग, हो गया ये. SD1 is being transferred to PD1, PD2. SD2 is being transferred to PD1, PD2. Is there any compulsion that we have to reapportion SD1? No. Usually guys in the answer first service department is reapportion first. तुम पहले SD1 को करो या SD2 को करो बेटा, क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है? The amounts are anyways going and sitting under PD1 and PD2 only. Are we clear about this? So it's not going to make any difference whether you reapportion SD1 or SD2 first. Next beta, is everyone done? Second one beta, non-reciprocal method or step method. Non-reciprocal or step method. Example, SD1 पहले कितना दिया था मैं PD1 PD2 percentages 70%. Let's say beta this is 20% and this is 10%. ठीक है? And SD2 beta is, that will remain as it is because SD2 will not render service to SD1. So here beta if you see SD1 is rendering service to SD2. SD2 beta is not rendering service to SD1. That is why this will become non-reciprocal. हो गया उतना ही और कुछ नहीं है. So in the यहाँ पे order will become relevant. Which service department are we supposed to reapportion first? We're supposed to reapportion the department first. That department beta which is rendering service to all the other service departments. Even if you have more than one service department, order of reapportionment will be decided in the same manner. Are we clear about this? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? लिखो बेटा ये. Done. Write down guys, next line. वो लास्ट वाला 10% है. 70 20 10. मेरे को 100 दिख रहा हो यहाँ से. Right guys, right on. Under step method, the service department under step method, the service department that renders service to all the other service departments, the service department that renders service to all the other service departments, that renders service to all the other service departments, should be reapportioned first. Under step method, the service departments that render service to all the other service departments should be reapportioned first. Reapportioned first. Should be reapportioned first. Next. Write the same amounts beta that we wrote earlier. What was the amount as per primary distribution? Amount as per primary distribution, guys. 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 5 lakhs, and the order of reapportionment is relevant only under step method, which means it is important which department are you reapportioning first. Answer will not change, number of steps will change. So when I reapportion PD1, PD2, SD1 beta, I will have to reapportion that to PD1, PD2 and SD2. What is the amount that we are reapportioning? 5 lakhs. In what ratio are we reapportioning? 70, 20, 10. 70% of that beta, that is 3,50,000 will go to PD1. 20% of that, which is 1 lakh, will go to PD2. यहाँ पे I'll write negative 5 lakhs, and 10% of that amount beta, which is 50,000, will go to SD2. Are we understanding this? The sum total of all of this beta is 13 lakh 50, 16 lakhs, nil, and 3 lakh 50,000. Next beta comes SD2. It will be reapportioned to whom? PD1 and PD2. How much will you reapportion beta? 3 lakhs or 3 lakh 50,000? What is the ratio that I've written? 40-60. 40-60 matlab beta 70, 1 lakh 40,000 and 2 lakh 10,000. This will be 0 and this will be negative 3 lakh 50,000. The total amount beta here becomes 14 lakh 90,000. This will become 18 lakh 10,000. This will be 0 and 0. The total amount of overheads do not change, guys. Only the overheads department wise will change depending on the method of reapportionment. घर वाले बोले ऐसे सबके सामने रुद्राक्ष हो गया गाइस ये सबका. Now guys, third one क्या था? Reciprocal. What did I tell you about under reciprocal? This mutual service rendered, guys, among the departments. Service departments render service to each other. वो sentence लिखना. Service departments render service to each other. Service department. ये नहीं हुआ अभी तक? श्रवण हो गया? Reciprocal लिखना बेटा sentence. Service departments render service to each other. Even here, guys, the order of reapportionment is not relevant. However, we preferably reapportion the department, guys, given first. If they mention SD1 in the order first, you will reapportion. There's no such rule. Answer will still remain same. We're just following that because all the suggested answers do that only. Are we clear? So let's say beta that the amount of service that is rendered SD1 बेटा इसके पहले क्या था? 70, 20% and 10%. SD2 guys 40-60 था ना. Let's say बेटा it is 20%, 60% and 20%. The amount as per primary distribution still remains same, guys. It does not change. ठीक है? थोड़ा serious face मत रखो बेटा इतना भी. ठीक है दीक्षा? So these are the amounts, percentages, guys. अभी first method क्या इसके नीचे? Repeated redistribution. The name itself suggests better that you will have to continue to redistribute till the amount reduces, guys, practically to 10 rupees or 1 rupees to a negligible amount. Sometimes they will specify how many cycles are we supposed to reapportion first. One cycle beta is all service departments being reapportioned once. जैसे यहाँ पे there are two service departments, so one cycle will be two reapportionments, SD1 reapportionment, SD2 reapportionment. So they usually mention that go till third cycle. Third cycle के last में जो भी department रहता है, that will directly get distributed only to production departments, not to the other service department. You do not want any amount beta going back to service department again. You want to stop at that point only. If they do not specify also beta, you will continue the process till we reach a very small amount. समझ में आ रहा है? तो पहले all of you start with me beta. Repeated redistribution method. Repeated redistribution method. The amount as per primary distribution, guys, production department 1 is 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 5 lakhs and 3 lakhs. I told you the order of reapportion does not matter, guys, but then we preferably reapportion SD1. So that 5 lakh rupees, guys, will be reapportioned to which departments? It will be reapportioned to PD1, PD2 and SD2. What ratio beta? 70, 20 and 10. When you do that, guys, ये first step तो बेटा वही रहेगा, नॉन रेसिप्रोकल रहने दो या ये रहने दो, आंसर चेंज नहीं होने वाला है. 3 लाख 50 guys, 1 लाख एंड ये 5 लाख माइनस करूंगा बेटा, कितना हो जाएगा लास्ट वाले में? 50,000. Once we add this, 13 lakh 50, 16 lakhs शून्य and 3 lakh 50,000. What will I do beta now? But this will now get allocated even to SD1. Under step method, we did not reapportion it back to SD1. How much will that be beta? 3 lakh 50 in the ratio of 20, 60, 20. 20% beta would be 70,000. 60%, 3 times 2 lakh 10,000. Again beta 70,000 and negative 3 lakh 50. If you see, there is an amount that is accumulated, guys, in SD1 again. And that amount beta is 70,000. Now stop writing, guys, and continue to pay attention. अभी क्या करना है बेटा? This is only one cycle. You will repeat this process, beta. Stop writing. I said you will repeat this process, guys, till you finish the entire amount. Of 70,000 beta, all of you keep calculating and tell me how much will be the amount, guys, that will get apportioned. 70%, 20% and 10%. 49, 14 and 7,000. Yes or no, guys? This is we allocating SD1 cost, guys, to PD1, PD2 and SD2. After this beta, the amount will become 14 lakh 69,000, 18 lakh 24,000, shunya and 7,000. What will you do with that 7,000? So 7,000 will again get reapportioned or distributed, guys, to PD1, PD2 and SD1. This will be in the ratio of 20, 60 and 20. So 1400 will go here, 4200 and 1400. This is completion of the second cycle. 14 lakh 70,400, 18 lakh 28,200, 1400 and shunya. SD1 beta, that is 1400, will get allocated to PD1, PD2, guys, and SD2 in the ratio of 70, 20 and 10. So 1400 ka 70% beta will become 980 rupees, guys. 280, 1400 gone, 140. After this again you have 14 lakh 71,380, 18 lakh 28,480. If they ask us to complete 3 cycles, usually but it will be three cycles only. ये जो 140 है, 140 rupees, I will allocate to PD1 and I will eliminate SD1. That means it should be in the ratio of 20:60, not 20% and 60%. If you multiply 140 into 20% into 60%, you will end up not allocating the balance 20%. इंस्टेड ये 140 को मैं ये रेशियो में डिवाइड कर रहा हूं, समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, into 1/4, 30 and 105 instead of multiplying, guys. Or if you want, you can continue the process better. Divide that 142 SD1, SD2 and sorry PD1, PD2 and SD1. अब उसके बाद में बेटा the amount that will get allocated, guys, to SD1 will barely be 140 का 20%, 28 rupees. That 28 you can allocate only to PD1 and PD2. But third cycle के end पे you can finish it, guys. It is not going to make any difference other than 2 rupees plus here, 2 rupees minus there. कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला at the organization level when you're computing the overhead rate. Are we clear about this? So this will become 14,71,415. This will become 18,28,585. This will be the amount of overheads, guys, after secondary distribution. Are you all understanding this? So here I have assumed that we are supposed to perform how many cycles? Even if it is not 3 cycles, at the end of third cycle as such, the amount is negligible only. 140 rupees over an amount of 30 lakhs. Sub mila ke 23 lakhs, 24 lakhs se better is still negligible only. Are we clear? All the overheads collectively are exactly 33 lakhs. So if you talk about 140 rupees on an overall amount of 33 lakhs, isn't the amount negligible? You can directly allocate that only to production. What you have to remember is when you allocate that, do not multiply by percentages, divide in the ratio, so that you still end up allocating the entire amount. Are we clear about this? Now the ones who did not understand why did I divide in the ratio and not multiply by the percentage, what will happen, guys, if I multiply into 20% and 60%? Out of 140 rupees, I will end up allocating only 80%, beta, that is 112 rupees. The remaining 20% will still lie unapportioned. That is why you should write in the ratio of 20/60. Is that clear? Any doubt in this? What we just did with a repeated redistribution method that can be presented in a slightly different way, and the name of that method beta is trial and error method. Under service department 1, service department 2, the amount of overheads as per primary distribution was how much? 5 lakhs and 3 lakhs. जो पूछा वही बोला बस. When we were reapportioning service department 1 cost, guys, 70% of this, 20% of this went to what? PD1, PD2. Yes or no? 10% of this amount beta went and sat under SD2, 50,000. I will not write that 70%, 20% now. I will only mention the 10% beta that got redistributed to the other service department. Are you all understanding this? But then we do know beta that 70% and 20% of the amount went to PD1 and PD2. Here, guys, we had 3,50,000 in the second step. You have the answer in front of you beta. Abhi tum log copy kare. Ye 3,50,000 mein se beta, how much went to SD2? 20%, that is 70,000. The remaining 20% went to PD1, 60% went to PD2. I'm not again writing it. I'm only specifying the amount that got retransferred beta back to SD1. Are you getting it? Yes or no? Third step, guys. This 70,000 got transferred beta 10% to SD2. The remaining 70%, 20% beta went to PD1 and PD2. There's no need to write this. This is only for your understanding. Exam में सिर्फ ये SD1, SD2 के arrows बताए तो बस है. वो बाकी का कहाँ जा रहा बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. It's just that in the end it will become easier for to understand. Are we clear? Next step beta, what did we do? 7,000 का 20% was transferred back to. Do not keep totaling it up. वो first step में मैं total किया क्योंकि what that 3 lakhs was never allocated. That is why I had to write 3 lakh plus 50, 3 lakh 50. अब नीचे 3 lakh 57 नको करो, जूते मारूंगा. That 3 lakh 50 is already gone. अब वो 20% बेटा came here. Remaining 20% and 60% went to PD1 and PD2. Following. Next step, what did we do, guys? This 1400 ka 10% beta, that is 140 rupees, went to SD2. 70% and 20% went to आर वी क्लियर? आई नो बहुत ईजी है बेटा, सुन लो बस, ठीक है, कुछ है नहीं समझने के लिए। ये मत सोचो कब का आ गया वेरी स्मार्ट बोल के, जस्ट बिकॉज यू आर स्मार्ट दैट डज नॉट मीन अदर्स आर फूल्स। आर वी क्लियर? So that was 140 guys. Next step beta, what did we do? Actually speaking, we distributed the entire amount only to PD1 and PD2. I cannot stop here क्योंकि थोड़ा approximation error आ जाएगा मेरे को. I'll just continue beta, one more step. 20% if it is transferred, कितना हो जाएगा? 28 rupees. 20% and 60% beta will go to PD1 and PD2. Just 10% of this beta will go back here, 2.8. बस है अभी, उसके ज़्यादा गए तो 0.56 आता, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है. Are we all clear? Yes or no kids? Can you add all these amounts? 5,70,000, 1,428. 5,71,428. Are we clear guys? Then beta 3,50,000 plus 7,000 plus 140 plus 2.8. 3,57,000 round figure कर दे रहा हूँ बेटा, 3,57,143. ठीक है? These are the amounts. Are you all following what I just did? At every step, I forgot to apportion the amount to production departments. What is the amount of production department 1 and 2 primary distribution? You forgot to redistribute the amount guys at every step from SD1 and SD2. What is the total amount of SD1? Let's do it now, but do not divide in the ratio. Multiply by percentage. 5,71,428 into 70% and into 20%. Sir, क्या कर रहे हो? You can do one thing guys. If you want, follow repeated redistribution and at every step show 5 lakh into 70%, 5 lakh into 20%. Then 70,000 into 70%, 70,000 into 20%. 1,400 into 70%, 1,400 into 20%. We did not do that at every step. I'm just writing it at once better. Summation of all of them. 4 lakh exact. दूसरा वाला नहीं आता 1,71,428. It is not. Next guys, SD2 का बेटा at every step we forgot to allocate 20% and 60%. Can you allocate at once? 3,57,143 into 20%. 3,57,143 guys into 60%. 71,429, 89. 2,14,000. Can you add the amount for that? 10,14,000 in this. 14,71,429. वो फर्क आएगा ही आएगा बेटा, because there we stopped at one step पहले ही. हाँ. 18 lakhs. 570. We got 18,28,572 and 14,71,429. एक में 14 rupees बढ़ के, एक में some 13 rupees कम. Are you getting it guys? What is the difference between trial and error method and repeated redistribution? No difference. It is the method of presenting information. You do not want, even now we are doing repeated redistribution only, but we are not showing the presentation at every step. We are just showing the presentation guys at once at the end. Correct beta Abhishek? Huh? Abhishek, clear? No? Whenever I call some person, I'm not looking at them beta. I just want them to respond so that people around them know that I'm looking there. I don't want to take out few names again and again. वैसा होता कि अरे यार बार-बार मेरा ही नाम क्यों ले रहा बोल के. It's not like I like them. I don't. Yes guys. समझ में आना आकांश? नहीं देख यौन आ रहा ना ऐसे नीचे झुक के बैठ के 2 मिनट यौन करके ऊपर. Are we all clear about this? Any doubt in this better? समझ में आ गया सबको? पक्का? Now, moving on to the next method. I'll make you write all of this, don't worry. Simultaneous equations. Again a copy of, सब same ही है but answer cannot change. It is reciprocal method, the answer has to remain same. Sometimes they specify the method in the examination, sometimes they do not specify. If they do not specify anything guys, you preferably use repeated redistribution. If they specify, obviously you'll have to go by what is specified. Trial and error सदिया हो गए बेटा, एग्जाम में आया नहीं, वो शायद उनको लगता प्रेजेंटेशन अच्छा नहीं देखता ऐसे बोल के. That is why they either ask repeated redistribution guys. Christmas tree बनाया नहीं होगा तो बचपन में कभी, बट हाँ बना लो बेटा, चलता. जैसे थोड़े बच्चे सूर्य बना बोले तो यहीं बोल के ऐसे कर देगा, तू ऐसा वाला क्रिसमस ट्री वो बना रहा. Simultaneous equation में guys, tell me how much is the amount that is getting reapportioned from SD1 to SD2? Amount नहीं चाहिए, percentage. How much is the amount that is getting reapportioned from SD2 to SD1? ध्यान देना. SD1 is transferring 10% to SD2 is transferring how much to SD1? So SD1 का total amount should not only include its own amount of कितना था SD1 का, हाँ, there's also an incoming of 20% from SD2. The total amount of SD1 is not just 5 lakhs, it's also, ये equation form करना important है. Common mistake in the examination बेटा, they write SD1 plus 10% of SD2. It is not about what you are giving them. What are you receiving from SD2? So the total amount of SD1 should be this, their own amount plus 20% of SD2. Likewise, SD2 का total amount beta would be their own amount, which is 3 lakhs plus 10% of SD1. Now, in the first equation, in place of SD2, I will write this entire equation. ठीक है? 3 lakhs plus 0.1 SD1. ये max नहीं है बेटा, बस numbers है. हाँ. So how much is 20% of 3 lakhs? 60,000 plus 0.02 SD1. How 0.02 beta? Calculator पे check कर लेना. 0.2 into 0.1. Bring that 0.2 SD1 here beta. It will become 0.98 SD1. This is equal to 5,60,000. How much is SD1 equal to? Without meditation, you will see beta that it is 5,60,000 divided by 98%. 571. Magic. अरे नहीं सुनो. हाँ. 5,71,429. 1 rupee का difference guys. अगर कोई रोया ना कान के नीचे बजाऊंगा. Even here if you continue no beta, the most accurate answer is simultaneous equation because it does not stop at 3 cycles or 4 cycles. It goes till infinity to the nearest paise. So that is why the most accurate answer will always and always be simultaneous equation. SD2 beta, you can now substitute the value of SD1. This will become 3 lakhs plus 0.1 of SD1, which is 571,429. 3,57,143. 3,57,143. Hereafter, same as trial and error. You do not divide in the ratio of 70-20. You multiply with 70% and 20%. ये आ गया बेटा अमाउंट. इसके बाद में exactly same as trial and error method. You will take as per primary distribution and you will add the amount as per simultaneous equation. SD1 and SD2 का. समझ में आया नहीं आया? Any doubt in this guys? Are we clear? All of them should result in the same answer guys of overheads, Rutvik. Whether it is repeated redistribution, simultaneous equation guys or trial and error. Doesn't make any difference. The answers better should remain same. Are we clear about this? Shashank, so can you please tell why do we multiply by percentage and not in ratios? Guys, if you divide this total amount beta in ratio of 70:20, you will end up distributing 5,71,000. We do not have to distribute 5,71,000. यहाँ पे 5 lakhs का सिर्फ 90%. 4,50,000 should go. 70,000 का 90%. 63,000. 1,400 का 90% beta, that is 1,260. 28 का 90% beta, that is 25. These amounts if you want you can divide in the ratio of 70:20. But 5 lakhs if you divide in the ratio of 70:20, you will not distribute 4,50,000. You will end up redistributing entire 5 lakhs. But don't you think 10% is already forming part of the other amount? So you cannot divide in the ratio, you will have to directly multiply by percentage. Are we clear? Fifth question, guys. Shall we start the fifth one? RST Limited has two production departments, machining and finishing. There are three service departments, human resource, maintenance and design. The budgeted costs in these service departments are as follows. Variable expenditure service department wise, fixed expenditure service department wise are already given. The segregation of expenses into variable and fixed is not relevant at the time of reapportionment. It is relevant only at the time of apportionment. And why is it relevant at the time of apportionment? I'll explain in the next question. We will have apportionment of service, variable and fixed cost, guys. That is primary distribution. Tab relevant रहता है. यहाँ पे it will not be relevant. Primary distribution is already done. We already have overheads as such, guys, after primary distribution. Are we clear? The usage of these service departments output during the year just completed is as follows. HR is rendering service. These are providers of service. These are users of service. So HR is rendering service, guys, to maintenance, design, machining and finishing. Maintenance is rendering service to design, machining and finishing. Design is rendering service, guys, to machining and finishing. Non-reciprocal step method for reapportionment of overheads. Use direct method. When they say use direct method, guys, to apportion service department cost, you will have to ignore the service that is rendered by one service department to an other service department. So whatever is the cost of HR department will be directly apportioned, guys, to machining and finishing. In what ratio? 4,000, 5,000 और 5,000 is to 4,000. वो order में जो लिख रहे हैं बेटा वही maintain करेंगे. समझ में आ रहा है? We cannot question the question. We know that the most appropriate method here is step method and not direct method. But question अगर बोल रहा है direct method करो, simply apportion the amount to production departments. Second question में बोल रहा है बेटा, determine proper sequence to use in reapportioning firm service department cost by step down method. Which service department, guys, are you going to reapportion first? Why HR? HR is rendering service to the other service departments, maintenance and design as well. Then the next service department, beta, would be maintenance. Finally, beta, you will reapportion design. Design will be reapportioned only to production departments. That will be the sequence. उसके बाद में using step method, we are going to reapportion service departments cost. जो भी अपन अभी ऊपर मेथड लिखे बेटा वो मेथड से. Are we clear about this? First, we will present the information, guys, in the order that we understand. एक note लिखना, guys. The segregation of expenses. The segregation of expenses into variable and fixed. The segregation of expenses into variable and fixed. Into variable and fixed. Is not relevant. Segregation of expenses into variable and fixed is not relevant. Is not relevant at the time of. Is not relevant at the time of reapportionment of overheads. Reapportionment of overheads is not relevant at the time of reapportionment of overheads. Now, if you look at the first service department, guys, that is HR. HR is rendering service to information as I लिख रहा हूँ. There is machining. There is finishing. These are the two production departments. And then beta we have HR, maintenance and design. HR जो service render कर रहा है बेटा, that is 4,000 hours of service to machining, 5,000 hours of service to finishing, nothing to HR obviously, 500 hours of maintenance and 500 hours of design. Maintenance, guys, is rendering service to machining 3,000, 500 hours, finishing 4000 hours, nothing to maintenance, directly to design beta 500 hours, and finally beta design would be only to machining and finishing. Are we clear? Nothing to beta HR, maintenance or design. Are we clear about first bit beta? Under direct method, what should I ignore? Service rendered to the other service department. Are we clear, guys? Ignore the service rendered to the other service departments. Direct method mein beta, when you show statement of reapportionment, there's no point in writing service department ke columns also. You can eliminate them. Statement of secondary distribution. Secondary distribution. There's maintenance and then beta there is design. I'm not right. Maintenance and machining and finishing, guys. There's no need to write the names of other departments. First, guys, direct method. कोई भी पहले apportion कर सकते हो. Let's say beta that we reapportion HR first. HR will be reapportioned, guys, in the ratio of how much? 4000 is to 5000. That is 4 is to 5. What is the amount to be reapportioned? 5 lakhs. You will directly reapportion 5 lakhs in the ratio of 4 is to 5, guys, to machining and finishing department. 5 lakhs into 4 by 5, 555, 22,000. 2,22,000, 222. So this will be 277, 778. Out of 5 lakhs, 2,22,222 is being reapportioned to machining. The balance 277, 778 will get reapportioned to finishing department. मंजरी पूरे हो गए कर खत्म कर दे 4,60,000 बेटा मेंटेनेंस नेक्स्ट अगेन मेंटेनेंस का बेटा 4,60,000 will be reapportioned in what ratio? 3,500 is to 4,000, 35 is to 40, 2,14,667. So बचा हुआ 2,45,550, 45,333. And finally beta design का cost is 7 lakhs, which will be apportioned in the ratio of 45 is to 15, 3 is to 1 beta, divided by 4, 3,50,000, 1,75,000, 5,25,000. This will be the reapportionment of service department cost. Add all of them beta, and that would be the final answer. $61, 12, 16 lakh 60,000, 698,111. So many of you guys went wrong in the allocation. That is why I told you be careful about the ratios. Machining, finishing, HR, maintenance and design. What is the amount as per primary distribution, guys? How many of you are done with step method? The amount as per primary distribution, guys, is, we do not know what are the amounts for production departments. We know only the amounts for service departments. It is 5 lakh, 4,60,000, guys, and 7 lakhs. Then, guys, secondary distribution. Under secondary distribution, guys, we will have to reapportion which department first? This will go to machining, finishing, maintenance and design. Be very careful when you write the ratio. Go as per the table that we have written above. The ratio will be 4000 is to 5000 is to 500 is to 500. You will have to apportion it only in the ratio, guys, in which you specify those departments. So this 5 lakhs ka beta, 2 lakh rupees will go to machining department, 2 lakh 50,000 will go to finishing department, 25,000 to maintenance, 25,000 to design department. After this beta, you will have 2 lakh 50,000, 0, 4 lakh 80,000 and 7 lakh 25,000. 85,000 and 7 lakh 25,000. Then beta maintenance will be reapportioned to machining, finishing and design. The amount beta ratio would be 3,500 is to 4,000 is to 500. 2 lakh 188, 42,500 guys, or 30,312 total. इसको भी 0.5 ज़्यादा, उसको भी 0.5 ज़्यादा हो तो 4,12,188 guys, 4,92,500, 00, 7,55,312. Finally बेटा ये कल ऑन करे सो वो आप क्या इन लोग को आइडिया भी नहीं है इनके साथ क्या होने वाला है अभी बोल के. Between the break बेटा 755,312 guys in the ratio of 3:1. 66,485, 828. ठीक है हो गया guys. How much will this be better now? 80. This will be the amount, guys. Are we all clear about this? 978,672 guys, 681,328 and zeros. Question number 7 guys. A company has 2 production departments and 2 service departments. The data relating to a period are as under. They've given us direct material and direct wages guys, department wise. They've given us overheads. Power requirement at normal capacity operations and the actual power consumption. Power requirement of these departments are met by a power generation plant. The said plant incurred an expenditure which is not included above. So expenditure is 1,21,875, out of which 84,375 is variable and the remaining is fixed. After apportionment of power generation plant cost to the 4 departments, the service department costs are to be redistributed on the following basis. Is it reciprocal, non-reciprocal or direct method? Reciprocal. SD1 is rendering service to SD2. SD2 is also rendering service to. We are supposed to apportion power generation plant cost to the 4 departments and reapportion service department cost to the production departments. Nothing is given. We will prefer doing it on the basis of repeated redistribution. And then calculate the overhead recovery rate per direct labor hour. Matlab you should divide the total overheads that you get beta by the number of labor hours. Labor hours directly nahi diya hua hai question mein, but then is telling us that the wage rate of PD1 and PD2 is 5 and 4. If your total wages are 95,000 and per hour you are paying 5 rupees, that means the number of labor hours will become 19,000. Likewise, in the second department, if your total wages are 50,000 and you are paying 4 rupees per hour, 12,500. Are we clear? Now, what do I do with the amount of direct material and direct wages given in the question? When we are presenting the statement of primary and secondary distribution of overheads, what do we do with the amount of direct material and direct wages? We should ignore them. Why? They are not a part of overheads. They're direct in nature. That is why we should not include it. Any other answer? Excellent answer. You will ignore direct material and direct wages of production department. They will be directly attributed to the end product that are being manufactured. Anything that is direct to service departments might not still be direct to the end product. They will still form part of your overhead statement. समझ में आ रहा है? You're supposed to include the entire amount of overheads as such, guys. मतलब direct material and direct wages in the amount of overheads. Please mark that as important, guys, and write a note. Question में mark direct material and direct wages as important, guys. Overheads. Now start off with a statement of primary and secondary distribution. There are few expenses already allocated. Power costs we are yet to allocate. Statement of primary and secondary distribution of overheads. प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट्स के नाम क्या है? वही PD1 PD2 ना. PD1 PD2 SD1 and you will have to write direct material and direct wages in this statement also, guys. Just that you will not write anything in PD1 and PD2. You will include the amounts only for SD1 and SD2. कितना है बेटा amount? 10,000 and 20,000. Direct wages बेटा 20,000 and 10,000. Other overheads जो दिया हुआ है. Now you will include for all the departments 80, 50, 30 and 20. There will be one or two questions in which I'll not take direct wages. I'll tell you the reason behind that, but abhi ke liye. Is everyone clear about this? There's one cost that we are yet to allocate, but and what is that? Power cost. We know how much is the amount of variable portion and fixed portion. Variable expenditure is always allocated on the basis of actual usage. Fixed expenditure will be done on the basis of normal capacity. अब भी पढ़ाया था बेटा. Variable amount कितना है? 80. Fixed basis बेटा will be actual usage. Actual usage के basis पे ratio बोलो. 13:23 36 10 46 56. एक बार देखकर 84,375 divided by 56,250. So 19,500, 34,500, 15,375 and 15,000. That will be the allocation, guys, of variable cost. Normal capacity कितना है? Normal capacity के basis पे ratio 20:35. ये अजीब है क्या यार? 30 30 20 50 85 नहीं आता इसका. पूरा करना पड़ता. वो करो तुम लोग आराम से. हाँ. This will be 19,500, 34,500, 15,375, 15,000. ఫిక్స్ కూడా అయిపోయిందా? చేయని కొంచెం అయితే. Guys, how much is the amount of fixed cost allocation better? Kashish? Huh? Huh? 515 7,700 and हो गया टैली यहाँ वहाँ एडजस्ट करके ₹1 कर लिया ताकि टोटल 37,500 आना. So guys, the first one beta will be 1,09,000 मतलब 1,08,324. Second वाला beta is 84 मतलब 99,991. Third वाला beta is 60, 75, 80, 890. Next is 20, 10, 50, 65, 72, 720. Huh? These are the overheads, guys, as per primary distribution. Once you get overheads as per primary distribution, beta, what next? Huh, beta? Secondary distribution. Which method are we supposed to follow for secondary distribution? Repeated redistribution. All right, guys, that's homework. Yes, guys, repeated redistribution method karo bola tha beta main. What is the total amount of overheads, guys? Direct final कौन सा question था ये 7th वाला था ना? Can you tell me direct amounts beta after the repeated redistribution? Final answer 206,491 155,384. This will be the total amount of overheads, guys, after reapportionment of overheads. Number of labor hours, guys, I told you labor hours were not given, but using wages and wage rate per hour, we will get number of labor hours. For the second division, guys, it is 50,000 divided by 4 rupees, 12,500. You will get your total overhead per labor hour. This is not just power cost, beta. These are all overheads. Total overheads per labor hour. How much will this be? 10.8743. 10.87, guys, and 12.43. These are the amount of overheads. Are we all clear about this? Yes or no? Question number 10. ABC company has the following account balances and distribution of direct charges on 31st March. They've given us, guys, allocated overheads. Few overheads are already given under each of the departments. There are 2 production departments, 2 service departments. Production department, machine shop and packing. Service departments, general plant and stores and maintenance. Allocated overheads are, we have indirect labor, total 14,650 दिया हुआ है, लेकिन department wise भी already amount दिया हुआ है. You will not need any basis for apportionment of that amount. Maintenance material is already given department wise. Miscellaneous supplies are given. Superintendent salary beta is only for general plant. Cost and payroll salary is again only for general plant. These are the overheads already allocated and apportioned. What we have to apportion beta is power cost, rent, fuel and heat, insurance, trade, license fees and depreciation. Now talking about power cost, guys, नीचे एक बार पूरे वो देख लो क्या क्या data दिया हुआ है. The following data were compiled by means of factory survey made in the previous year. They've given us floor space. They've given us radiator sections, guys. They've given us number of employees. They've given us investments and they've given us horsepower hours. Machine shop का all the 4 details now. ठीक है, ऊपर जाओ बेटा अभी. First is power cost. On what basis, guys, are we going to allocate power cost? Horsepower hours are already given, okay, which is already a product of horsepower multiplied by number of hours. Then, guys, rent is given. On what basis are we going to allocate rent? Floor space. Fuel and heat will now be allocated on the basis of radiator sections. Power and fuel and heat अलग से दिया हुआ है बेटा. They've given us 2 separate bases also. Are we clear? Insurance. Number of investment. क्या number of employees बेटा? Insurance किसका लेती कंपनी? Insurance is normally taken बेटा for the assets that the organization owns. Are we clear? Nowhere is it given better that this is health insurance of the employees that is being paid or life insurance of the employees that is being paid. So when they say insurance, it is always for the amount of inventory or the amount of assets that an organization owns. So insurance will be allocated or apportioned better on the basis of investment. Are we clear? Trade license fees. Now trade license, अरे क्या number of employees? मैं बात कर रहा हूँ ना भाई. Trade license beta is a state subject. Few states would levy it on the basis of floor area, and then the rates would differ as such, guys, depending on the locality also. ICI के हिसाब से it is investment. We are all supposed to follow investment. It will be levied as a percentage of investment. But let's not forget, state है मतलब जैसे if you talk about trade license here in Hyderabad, you're supposed to take it from GHMC. So इसीलिए so it is a state's of this thing. Every state will have a different rule. You're supposed to remember that it will be a portion on the basis of investment. Depreciation, number of employees बोले ना वापस. Depreciation किस पे बेटा? Investment. You're not depreciating employees better in the organization. But why did they give us details of number of employees? आएगा बेटा नीचे देखो. Expenses charged to stores and maintenance departments are to be distributed to the other departments by the following percentages. Stores and maintenance is one service department. ठीक है, वो थोड़ा sentence का alignment हो गया यहाँ पे, मतलब this entire sentence is basically one. समझ में आ गया ना वो? Stores and maintenance, guys, is one service department that will be allocated to machine shop, packing and general plant in the ratio of 50, 20 and 30. Enter मारे तो it will go to the next line. General plant overheads will be distributed on the basis of number of employees. So for the second service department, the ratio for reapportionment is number of employees. Are we clear about this? Now, is it reciprocal method or non-reciprocal method? Reciprocal. The first service department is rendering service to the other service department, guys, and when you reapportion general plant overheads, you are doing it on the basis of number of employees. You will do it in the ratio of 20, 10 and 5. You will obviously ignore the number of employees of general plant and apportion it only to the other departments, which will be 20, 10 and 5. Prepare an overhead distribution statement with supporting schedules to show. Upon supporting schedules, matlab beta, we do not prepare a separate schedule. In the same statement only, we will include everything. So supporting schedule is wherein you show the apportionment of overhead separately and then include those amounts in the main statement. We will include everything as a part of the main statement only. We'll follow the same procedure that we have done so far. And basis of distribution, including distribution of service department expenses to production departments. ठीक है? Determine the service department distribution by the method of continued distribution, repeated distribution to 3 cycles. Show all calculations to the nearest rupees. Okay? They're very clear that you're supposed to perform 3 cycles. Even if the amounts are small, guys, you will not stop in between. Are we all clear about this? Very good, beta. वो एक mark करो ये important बोल के, क्या याद रहेगा तुम लोग को, क्या नहीं रहेगा, sorry. Insurance, trade license fees. Mark them as important, guys. Material में mark करो बेटा, so that whenever you revise one day before the examination, it's easier to look at those points. Limited time रहता. One exam to the next exam is such बेटा, there's a time gap of only 45 hours. उसमें से you will sleep twice. So if you remove 6 hours twice as such beta, there are 33 hours left. If you remove the transportation time and everything as such beta, another 2 hours. You remove about 6 meals as such, guys. Another 2-3 hours gone, 28. Maximum that you will be willing, that you will be able to study better would be somewhere in the range of 25 to 26 hours, not more than that. 25 to 26 hours में you have to revise 100% of the syllabus. ठीक है? चलो बेटा, काम है बेटा मेरा डराना, ताकि तुम पढ़ाई करो. You will write statement of primary and secondary distribution of overheads. Gadi. Whatever amounts are already apportioned, guys. Kef, looking for someone? सिद्धेश को देख रहा था तो इसलिए पूछा. You will have particulars, amount, basis, ratio. It is very important that you write basis and ratio, guys, either as a separate column or in brackets properly. It is better that you write it as a separate column only whenever there is primary distribution of overheads. Now write the names of those production departments beta. Machine shop and packaging. हाँ इसमें शॉर्टकट लिखता है, मार्क्स में शॉर्टकट हो गया ना, फालतू का वापस जाना पड़ता शॉर्टकट के चक्कर में। और जब तक बाकी सबका अगर समझ लग गया आर्टिकल से, वहाँ पे दोस्त मिल गए नए, तू सोच। ठीक है ना? यस गाइस, पूरे लिखना जो भी overheads beta are already apportioned already as such beta allocated, mention them and write all the amounts under the respective heads. Do not total it up and statement में तो include करना ही पड़ेगा ना बेटा, without that you will not know, no? When you are reapportioning overheads, direct total जरूरत नहीं है बेटा. Indirect labor, the total amount is 14,650. Department wise the amounts are given. I'm copying from the material only guys. You can also do the same. Maintenance material, the amount is 5020. The amounts individually are 1800, 700, 1020 and 1500. तू क्या पोर्शन कर रही? पहले वो नीचे के शुरू कर दी. Miscellaneous supplies better 1750. This will be 400, 1000, 150 and 200. Now guys, the overheads to be apportioned. First one is power. You're going to do it on the basis of what? Horsepower hours. Horsepower hours mein beta, there's no horsepower for general plant, it's only for 35. The totals match bhi nahi ho rahe. 1.6 times. So 35, 1.6, 2000, 5600, huh? 800, 1600. You will have power costs, rent and all the others guys, like that. So what is the amount that we are getting guys after this? एक second रुक, हाँ मैं कर लेता हूँ. Rent amount beta is 12,000 rupees, which will be done on the basis of floor space, and the floor space beta is 28, 4 and 16, 4,800, matlab 2.5 times, so that will be 5,000, 2,000, 1,000, 2.5, 1,600, 4,000. This will be the amount of rent allocation. Fuel and heat guys, I told you that you will do it on the basis of radiator sections. Radiator sections बेटा, एक बार 6,000 by 225 करना कितना है? नहीं आता. ठीक है, एक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बोल, 45 का बोल. 1200 है. So the next one beta will be double the amount, 2,400. Next 1/3, 800. Next double 1,600. So this will be the amount of fuel and heat. Next beta, insurance. Insurance 1,000 rupees. I told you this will be done on the basis of investment, which will be 640 is to 200 is to 10 is to 150 guys. So this will be 640, 200 rupees, 10 rupees and 150 rupees. After insurance beta, trade license fees, double the amount, 2,000 guys, on the basis of investment. Stop talking guys. 1280, 400, 20 and 300. Depreciation guys is 1 lakh, again on the basis of investment, 2 zeros more, so 64,000, 20,000, 1,000 and 15,000. This will be the total amount, guys. So here beta it is 5,800, 6,200, 6, 11, 800, 16, 800, 17, 18, 18,920, 18,920, 82,920, huh? 80? करेक्ट ही करे ना, मैं काम मिस करा के, ठीक है छोड़ दो. 4,700 बेटा, करने दे, दिमाग काम करता करना, जंग लग जाएगा इसको भी. 7,500, 9,900, 10,100, 10,500, 30,500. ये क्या है अमाउंट, क्या है मेंटेनेंस का? 1,020 है. सो 3,000, 3,150, 17,150, 18,150, 18,950, 18,950, 18,000, 19,000, 20,000, 30. This is the overheads as for primary distribution, guys. Please check the amounts. Overheads as per primary distribution. 83,920, 30,500, 20,000 and 30,000. We will start with. Doesn't matter बेटा, ऊपर फर्स्ट क्या दिया हुआ है? ऊपर जनरल प्लान है ना, तो जनरल प्लान से शुरू करो ना, चलता. ऊपर बेटा in the order they have specified general plan first, you can reapportion general plan first in the ratio of number of employees. दूसरा भी किया तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा. When you complete 3 cycles बेटा, the amounts will still be the same. The amounts are not going to change. This is overheads as per primary distribution. Yes guys, तुम लोग सबके सब क्या करें? You started with stores and maintenance first. चिल्लाओ मत. हाँ अरे general plan beta 20,000 rupees will be reapportioned on the basis of number of employees. You will take number of employees, guys, of the production department and the other service department. That will be 20:10:5. So how much will be the amount of reapportionment beta? 20,000 into 20 divided by 35. 11,429. So this will become 5,714. And last wala beta 2,857. शशांक तेरा आंसर मैच हो गया वो? This will become beta 84,000, 94,000, 95,349. This will be 36,214. This will be 0. This will be 32,857. This amount beta you will now be distributing. This is general plant. नहीं, general plant हो गया. ये क्या है? Stores and maintenance. Stores and maintenance, guys, you're supposed to reapportion 32,857 on the basis of those percentages given, which is 50% to machine, 20% to packing, guys, and 30% to general plant. So 50% of 32,857, guys, will become 16,428.29 into 20%. बेटा कितना हो गया? 657. And next into 30%, 9,857. This will be one cycle. ऐसे you will have to perform 2 more cycles, guys, for reapportionment. The total of this beta 1695, 1,11,720, 60, 78. This will become 42,785. This will be 9,857 and 0. After this beta we will have to reapportion general plant. पूरा हो गया तेरा भी. We'll have to reapportion general plant. The amount is 9,857 again on the basis of number of employees. The ratio beta is 20:10:5. 9,857 beta into 20 divided by 35. 5633 मतलब ये हो जाएगा 281. and last wala beta 1408. After this, guys, you will get 1,16,17,300 and 411. Huh? This will become 44,000, 45,500 and 601. 01408. Now stores and maintenance beta will be reapportioned. 1408 beta. Percentages are already given: 50%, 20% and 30%. This will be 704. 20% matlab 281.6, so 282. 30% matlab 420, 420 or 2, 422. Huh? Please check the values, guys. This will be 1,18,115. 45,000, guys, 883, 422 and 0. We are done with 2 cycles. We have to perform one more cycle, guys. So we'll have to reapportion general plant, guys, and stores and maintenance once more. Last wale mein you will end up distributing the amount, guys, only to production departments in the ratio of 20:10. No, in the ratio of 50:20. General plant beta now 422 on the basis of number of employees. 2010-5. Yukti ho gaya tera pura? So 422, guys, into 20 divided by 35. 241. So 120 and uska half 60. So 118,356, guys, 45,181, 46,004 dash and 60. Stores and maintenance, guys, it is 60 rupees. That will be done only in the ratio of 50:20 now. So 60 into 50 by 70. 43 and 17, guys. The total amount beta here will become 1,18,399. 46,021 dash dash. Please check beta. This will be the total amount of overheads. Whatever we did so far, Asad beta, was primary and secondary distribution of overheads, after which all the overheads, guys, will be identified with respect to production departments. The intent of doing that was still to allocate overheads to the end product, and for that you will need to compute something called as overhead recovery rate. Or how are we going to allocate overheads to the end product? In a couple of questions we have computed overhead rate per labor hour, we have computed overhead rate per machine hour, guys. Now the two concepts, guys, first there's something called as budgeted rate versus actual rate. In reality, overhead rate is not computed, guys, after the completion of the financial year. It is always estimated. You do not arrive at the cost of a product, guys, after completing manufacturing activity, guys, of all the products. You will have to estimate the cost of a product. If a customer comes to you to manufacture a specific product, you will not tell him, let me undertake the manufacturing activity first, and after that I'll tell you what is the cost that I've incurred, and then we'll fix the selling price. Can you do that, guys? You're always supposed to estimate. This was one reason why in 12th question, guys, they've used the word overhead estimated. If you look at the third sentence better, it says estimate of factory overhead costs to be incurred by each department in the next year. Overhead rate by default is always computed on the basis of budgeted data, on the basis of estimated data. We use the word budgeted. That means you will have to estimate what is the amount of overheads that you're going to incur for the entire year, what is the likely amount of activity at which you're going to operate, and then determine the recovery rate or the absorption rate. Are we clear? So unless otherwise given, overheads are always absorbed on the basis of budgeted data and not on the basis of actual data. Ye ho gaya first part. The second one beta is, what should be the basis of absorption? Usually overheads are absorbed on the basis of machine hours or labor hours, depending on whether a specific department is machine intensive or whether a department is labor intensive. The logic is pretty simple. Higher the amount of work that you perform on a product, higher should be the share of expenses. There's a possibility beta that there are two products. The prime cost, everyone knows what is prime cost. The prime cost of product is 40 rupees. The prime cost of product B is 200 as an example. But let's say guys that the first product needs 20 hours on machine. The second product needs only 3 hours on machine. If you're working for 20 hours on product A and 3 hours on product B guys, irrespective of their prime cost, which product should be given a higher share of overheads? Obviously product A. That is why we do not prefer allocating overheads on the basis of, we prefer allocating overheads on the basis of machine hours or labor hours. Meaning your overhead recovery rate or absorption rate, we prefer using the word absorption rather than recovery. Absorption rate guys should be equal to budgeted overheads. You will have to first make an estimate of the total amount of overheads that you will be incurring in a department. That divided by the amount of budgeted machine hours or labor hours. Depending on, as I told you better, whether it is labor intensive work or machine intensive. Just assembly department is usually labor intensive. So you will have to divide by labor hours rather than dividing it by machine hours. Are we clear? There can be scenarios as such where one employee is handling 5 machines, but the majority of the work is being done by machine only. So the number of machine hours will be way more than the number of labor hours. That's machine intensive work. We'll have to divide it by number of machine hours and not by number of labor hours. Are we all clear about this? There are alternative methods also wherein instead of dividing it by the budgeted machine hours or labor hours, we can divide it by direct material cost or direct wages or prime cost, though it is not usually followed. We can divide absorb overheads. ये पूरे basis क्यों पढ़ा रहा हूँ बेटा? There can be one question in which we will see they will ask us to absorb overheads on all the bases that you know. So we will not restrict ourselves only to machine hours or labor hours. We are going to absorb overheads as a percentage of direct material cost, direct wages, or as a percentage of prime cost also, though it is not appropriate. There can be few organizations that absorb overheads as a percentage of direct wages, but that would make sense only if almost all the employees get paid an equal amount of salary. So whether it is labor hours or direct wages, the proportion is not going to change. Whether I take 10 labor hours or whether I take wage of 10 labor hours, the ratio is still going to remain same. So you can still do it on the basis of direct wages if the salaries are same. But apne liye beta, if nothing is given, our first answer should always be based on machine hours or labor hours. Isliye all the questions that you did so far guys, they've asked us to compute overhead rate per labor hour or per hour. You've divided it by number of working hours, or you've divided it by number of labor hours or number of machine hours. Samajh mein aaya? So first point, overhead recovery is always based on budgeted data, not based on actual data. In that budgeted data also, you will need a basis of apportionment, and that basis of apportionment guys will be machine hours or labor hours unless otherwise given, or alternatively it can also be absorbed on the basis of direct material, direct wages, or prime cost. Next beta, there's something called as departmental rate or a blanket rate. Whatever questions that you've done so far guys were all departmental rates, wherein you computed overhead recovery rate separately for each department rather than blanket rate. Obviously beta, under one rate you're covering the entire organization. This only single rate is such beta that is being used to recover overheads of the entire organization. That will be called as blanket rate. If an organization is following blanket rate as such beta, then whatever we have learned so far, primary distribution, secondary distribution, all useless, because in the end you will have to simply add all the overheads guys and then compute one single recovery rate. जब add ही करना था बेटा सब कुछ, divide ही क्यों किए? Are we clear about that? But that is not the reason why blanket rate is useless. You cannot say that it is increasing, we just wasted time बोल के. Blanket rate is useless because useless matlab beta, organizations do not normally prefer blanket rate for one reason. The amount of overheads that you incur in each department can differ. Let's say guys that there is in department 1, without yawning beta, we incurred overheads of 4 lakhs. क्या बेटा राघव बोर हो रहा है? एकांश को बोलो क्या यहाँ पे नाचो बोल के थोड़ी देर. अरे बोले तो भाई तुम दोनों खास हो तो उसके लिए इतना नहीं करेगा क्या? ऑल राइट गाइस सारे. Let's say that the number of machine hours in the first department are 1 lakh. The number of labor hours in the first department are 20,000. Machine intensive work. All right. The total overheads of department B guys are 1 lakh. The number of machine hours guys again are 1 lakh, and the number of labor hours are also some 30,000. The total amount of overheads guys in the third department are 10 lakhs. Number of machine hours 50,000. Number of labor hours are, let's say, 1 lakh. If I follow departmental recovery rate method, I am going to compute a separate recovery rate for each department depending on how the work is performed in that department. If it is labor intensive, you're going to divide by labor hours. If it is machine intensive, you're going to divide it by machine hours. ये जो explanation कर रहा हूँ ना बेटा, ये तुम्हारे समझने के लिए. समझ में आ रहा है बेटा सिद्धि? ये मेरे लिए नहीं पढ़ा रहा हूँ मैं, मेरे को आता है ये सब. सिद्धेश, I will never call you सिद्धि बेटा. He's wondering why am I calling him सिद्धि बोल के. There's a girl in the class जिसका नाम सिद्धि है, ठीक है? The first department guys, are you going to absorb overheads on the basis of machine hours or labor hours? So the overhead recovery rate will be 4 rupees per machine hour. For every hour of work, you're going to allocate 4 rupees to a product. Second department guys, again, I'll write 1 rupee beta per machine hour. The third department guys is labor intensive. You're going to divide it by the number of labor hours. You will have 10 rupees per laborer. This will be my recovery rates for all the departments. First 2 departments on the basis of machine hours, third department on the basis of labor hours. If I follow blanket rate guys, I will have to total up all the overheads, which is 15 lakhs. I will have to total up all the machine hours or all the labor hours depending on what method are you following. Let's say the organization is absorbing overheads on the basis of machine hours. They will directly say better that the amount of overhead recovery rate per hour is 6 rupees. This is blanket rate. We are not computing overheads department wise. We are computing a single recovery rate guys for all the departments collectively. Usually not followed, but समझ में blanket rate किसको बोलते हैं? Now let's say guys that there is a product X. This product X guys needs about 5 machine hours, 3 labor hours in department A. It needs about 2 machine hours, 1 labor hour in department B. It needs 1 machine hour and 10 labor hours in department C. Alright. Product X manufacture कर रहे हो. Product X has to go through all the departments. How much time are you spending on product X in department A? 5 machine hours and 3 labor hours. In the second department, 2 machine hours and 1 labor hour, 1 machine hour, 10 labor hours. If I follow departmental recovery rate of overheads, what will be the amount of overheads that I will allocate guys from department A to X? 4 rupees per what? So will you consider 5 machine hours or will you consider 3 labor hours? The amount of overheads beta would be 4 rupees into 5 hours, 20 rupees. If I consider department B guys, 1 rupee per again what? Here I'll write beta 1 rupee multiplied by 2. कितना हो जाएगा? For department C guys, 10 rupees per. I'll write 10 rupees here guys multiplied by 10. The amount will become 100. The total share of overheads will become 122. Each department you're going to absorb overheads differently. If I follow blanket rate, what are the total machine hours that I spent on this? 8 multiplied by, what is the blanket rate? 40. Significantly different. Obviously, but what results in a better allocation of overheads? departmental rate. Departmental rate ka advantage, but see, even if the basis is same for all the departments, no problem. It may happen that one product requires more resources of one department, another product needs more resources of an other department, and the amount of money that you're spending in each department can differ. So समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है guys? And that is why it is better. Let's say beta department A का rate is 10 rupees per machine hour as an example. Department B का rate guys is 1 rupee per machine hour. There is product X that needs 1 machine hour here and 10 machine hours here. There is product Y that needs 10 machine hours in the first department, 1 machine hour beta in the second department. If I follow blanket rate as such beta, I will end up allocating a very less share of expenditure guys to product Y. You see here beta 10 rupees into 1 plus 1 rupee into 10. My cost will only be 20 rupees if I follow departmental rate. Here beta it will be 10 into 10, 100 plus 1 into 1, 101. If we follow blanket rate system guys, you will end up allocating on an average about 50 rupees to both the products. If you're allocating less to one product, it would mean that you're allocating, ultimately beta the amount is being split between all of these products only, no? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा guys? It's like this guys, there's non-vegetarian food, there's vegetarian food. Normally what is more expensive? If you simply add everything as such beta and divide it by the number of people, the ones who were eating only vegetarian food, will they end up paying a higher share of expenditure? The ones who are eating non-vegetarian food, are they ending up paying a lower share of expenditure? Should it be appropriate to allocate non-vegetarian bill separately and vegetarian bill separately? That's the concept of departmental rate. I'm not asking you to split bill like this beta. You should not, because you'll not have friends in the long run. But that's more important, no? So, are we all clear about it? What is more relevant, departmental rate or blanket rate? Departmental rate. That will be more relevant. So the three things that you're supposed to know. One is the concept of budgeted rate and actual rate. Next beta is departmental rate and blanket rate. Third is the basis of apportionment, basis of absorption. So what would you prefer beta? Would you prefer machine hours, labor hours, or direct material, direct wages? Why machine hours or labor hours? They normal as such beta, it's the rule. If you're spending more time, that means you're incurring more expenditure. So that is why it is appropriate to allocate expenses on the basis of machine hours or labor hours. And finally beta, there's something called as blanket rate and departmental rate. Third one. What is blanket rate beta? A single recovery rate for all the departments collectively is called as blanket rate. Departmental rate is wherein you have separate recovery rates for all the departments. Again, what is preferable guys? Departmental rate. Reason? अरे ऐसे सडन में हिलो नको बे, लोग चेहरा छुपा के बैठते, तुम लोग सडन में उनका पूरा वो खराब कर देते. हाँ, why departmental rate? Guys, whenever you're moving as such beta, please be little courteous to the people who are hiding behind you guys. Why departmental rate guys? More? The amount of money that you spend in each department as such beta can be totally different. There can be very less overhead incurred in one department, a very high amount of overheads incurred in another department. So if you take proper time that was spent in each department separately, you will get a better allocation of overheads rather than allocating overheads as such beta on an overall basis. It is not about sharing bill among friends as such beta. This is about arriving at the product cost. You end up allocating a lower share of expenditure to one product. You will start selling your product at a loss without even realizing, because you've arrived at the cost of the product as such beta, under costed the product, the selling price will be fixed lower. Likewise, if you end up allocating a higher share of expenditure to a product guys, you think that the cost is more and that is why you're fixing the selling price at a higher level. We do not end up making more profits. We end up losing the customer base. The demand for the product will reduce guys significantly, resulting in a lower sales of the product. Are we clear about this? That is why accurate costing is more important. So समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है बेटा? Yes or no? Start copying these details बेटा. ये डिपार्टमेंट के नाम क्या थे? क्या? Sorry, जगह ही नहीं लिखा. Department A, Department B, Department C. Overheads, machine hours, labor hours. First department beta is machine intensive or labor intensive? Machine intensive. So if you are absorbing overheads on the basis of departmental rate. For the first department, guys, what should be your overhead rate? You will write 4 lakhs divided by 1 lakh. How much is that, beta? 4 rupees per machine hour. 4 rupees per machine hour. Second wala department was also machine intensive. Because it is machine intensive case, you're going to write 1 lakh divided by 1 lakh, and that will be 1 rupee per machine hour. The third department beta is labor intensive. So you're going to write 10 lakhs divided by 1 lakh. So that will be 10 rupees per labor hour. What if it is a blanket rate based on machine hours? Blanket rate, guys, based on machine hours would be 15 lakhs divided by 2,50,000, and that beta would be 6 rupees per machine hour. If it is a now let's take an example bit of two products. क्या है department A, B and C. Let's say beta that there is product X and product Y. It needs 2 machine hours in the first department, 1 labor hour. Second product beta needs 1 machine hour in the first department but 10 labor hours. लिखते जाओ details. Department B, guys, let's say it is 10 machine hours, 1 labor hour. And here, guys, it is 3 machine hours and 3 labor hours. Product X beta, last वाले में 1 machine hour, 10 labor hours. And 4 machine hours, 1 labor hour. Arrive at the overhead allocation, guys, based on both blanket rate as well as departmental rate. If you follow departmental rate, what will be the overhead allocation? And if you follow blanket rate, what will be the overhead allocation? If you follow blanket rate as such, guys, what will be the allocation, guys, to product X? You will write 13 machine hours multiplied by 6 rupees per machine hour. So 13 into 6 beta, the amount would be 78 rupees. For product Y, guys, it will be 8 machine hours multiplied by 6 rupees per machine hour. How much will that be, guys? 48 rupees. 13 into 6, guys, it is 78 rupees for the first product and 48 rupees for the next product. And if it is departmental rate as such, guys, how are you going to allocate? First department mein we are doing allocation on the basis of machine hours. The rate is how much beta? 4 rupees. So department A ka kitna allocation rahega? 2 machine hours multiplied by 4 rupees. That will be 8. Dusra wale ka beta, it is 1 machine hour into 4 rupees only. That is 4. Department B bol beta. Rate is 1 rupee per machine hour. So what will be the amount beta? 10 machine hours multiplied by 1 rupee. That is 10. And here 3 machine hours into 1 rupee. Department C beta, the rate is 10 rupees per labor hour. So the answer beta would be 10 labor hours multiplied by 10 rupees, and that would be 100. And here beta, it would be 1 into 10. The total amount of wage over its allocation beta is 17 rupees here, and here it is 118 rupees. Understood, guys? So what is better, allocating overheads on the basis of departmental rate? It should always be based on budgeted data, and preferably, guys, we should use machine hours or labor hours as the absorption basis and not direct material or direct wages or some prime cost. Any doubt in this? There's something called as under or over recovery of overheads. We'll do that also better now. And then I'll talk about the recovery or treatment of this later. Under or over recovery of overheads. अब ये क्या है? I already described this better earlier. I told you that overheads are absorbed on the basis of budgeted data. Can the actual activity differ from the budgeted data? Let's say, guys, that there is one department whose budgeted overheads as such, guys, were about 10 lakhs, and the number of machine hours as such were 1 lakh. Because budgeted overheads were 10 lakhs and budgeted machine hours were 1 lakh, the overhead recovery rate must have been 10 rupees. 10 lakhs divided by 1 lakh beta, your overhead recovery rate would be 10 rupees. Let's say, guys, that the actual overheads that the organization has incurred were 11 lakhs. The number of machine hours as such beta were 90,500. You work for 90,500 hours, the amount of actual overheads as such beta are 11 lakhs. I never asked you to compute overhead recovery rate, guys. Kaika 12.15. You cannot go back at the end of the year and say, sorry, we thought it was 10 rupees, now it is 12.15. What you have to understand, beta, is your overhead rate per hour is based on budgeted data. Yes or no? Once that is computed, guys, budgeted data is useless. Gone, out of the picture. Once the recovery rate is established. Throughout the year, guys, you will keep manufacturing products, you will keep allocating overheads. At what rate are you allocating overheads? At the rate of 10 rupees per hour. How many hours did you work for? 90,005. We never worked for 1 lakh hours, beta. We thought we will work for 1 lakh hours. Let's say, beta, 10 friends planned for a cricket match. 5,000 rupees expected expenditure. Contribution per person? 9 people turned up. How much is the amount collected? 4,500. उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं overheads absorbed. Overheads absorbed, guys, will always be equal to actual activity multiplied by whatever was your recovery rate. That means you must have absorbed an overhead of 9,05,000. If you worked for 90,500 hours throughout the year, the total amount of overheads absorbed beta would be 9,05,000. What is the actual amount of overheads incurred? 11 lakhs. How much is the amount of under recovery of overheads? 1 lakh. इसको बोलते हैं under recovery. We have recovered less and that is why it is under recovery. If you have recovered more, it will be a case of over recovery. Two reasons why they can be under recovery or over recovery. Either the activity levels are not same or the amount of expenditure is not same. See, even if you have worked for exactly, let's say beta, the actual details were, you have incurred 11 lakh rupees, but you have worked for 1 lakh hours. Isn't the activity level, guys, exactly as per the budget? Even then, what will be the amount of overheads absorbed? You are absorbing overheads at the rate of 10 rupees per hour. So that will be 1 lakh multiplied by 10 rupees, 10 lakhs. How much is the amount of actual overheads incurred? 11 lakhs. Is there an under recovery here? How much? Let's say, guys, that you have actually incurred 10 lakh rupees. But the number of labor hours that you have worked for are 1,10,000. Nando, 1,05,000 beta. Now what will be the amount of overheads absorbed? 10,50,000. For 1,05,000 hours, you are going to multiply by 10 rupees. You have absorbed 10,50,000, but actual overheads incurred are how much? There is an over recovery of 50,000. Are we all clear about this? This is the amount of under or over recovery of overheads. Sir, compute करके क्या करना है इसका बाद में देखेंगे guys क्या करना है. That's the last part of the chapter. Treatment of under or over recovery of overheads, accounting treatment. इसके अलावा there's something called as machine hour rate, and then this chapter is also over. Finish. Are we clear about this, guys? हाँ बेटा. What will be our recovery rate or absorption rate? You'll write 10 lakhs divided by 1 lakh, and that is 10 rupees. Once that is fixed, guys, what will be the amount of overheads absorbed? 1 lakh hours. Isn't the actual activity 1 lakh? So you're going to multiply that 1 lakh beta with 10 rupees, and that is 10 lakhs. But how much did we incur? The actuals beta overheads are Actual overheads are 11 lakhs. Did we absorb less or more? So will this be under recovery or over recovery? Under recovery beta would be 1 lakh. Case 1 guys, overheads are 11 lakhs, machine hours are 1 lakh. Overheads absorbed would be 10 lakhs. You will compare that with the actual overheads guys of 11 lakhs, resulting in an under recovery of 1 lakh rupees. Resulting in an under recovery of 1 lakh. Case 2. Amount of overheads incurred 10 lakhs. Number of machine hours beta is 95,000. Now what will be overheads absorbed? 95,000 multiplied by 10 rupees. 9 lakh 50,000. Overheads absorbed beta 9 lakh 50. How much are your actual overheads incurred? 10 lakhs. Will it still be under recovery or over recovery? Under recovery. Kitna beta under recovery? 50,000. Under recovery of overheads guys is 50,000. Case 2. Overheads are 10 lakhs. Number of hours are 95,000. Are we all clear about this? Case 3 guys. Let's say that the overheads incurred are 10 lakh 20,000 and the number of hours beta that you have worked for are 1 lakh 15,000. Now overheads absorbed guys will be 1 lakh 15,000 multiplied by 10 rupees. 11 lakh 50,000. Actual overheads are 10.2 lakhs. Do we have under recovery or over recovery now? Over recovery. How much did we recover more? 1 lakh 30,000. The amount of over recovery is 1 lakh 30,000. सबको समझ में आ गया बेटा concept? Yes or no? So you're supposed to absorb overheads on the basis of budgeted data guys, and that also it should be on the basis of machine hours or labor hours preferably, and that also beta we should be computing a separate rate as such guys for each department rather than computing a single rate. Once we know what is the recovery rate at the end of the year, we'll be comparing overheads absorbed with actual overheads incurred, resulting in under or over recovery. Are we clear about this? Any doubt in this?